Hello, everybody, and welcome to the June 9th Downtown Development Authority meeting. And, yeah, we're going to call roll.
Jim Knight,
Here.
Vera Woodson, present. Brian Rosen,
Here.
Alan Costello,
Here.
Cole David,
Here.
Arnell Burton.
Here.
And at this moment, we should mention that we lost a member of the board just last week. Harold Van Arnhem was a really sweet guy, a real estate holder in town, and an esteemed member of the board. And I don't know if anyone has anything they'd like to say.
Maybe just a moment of silence for him.
Okay. Then if we could we have a moment of silence for Harold? Thank you. Okay. So, we're ready for public comments. Oh, do we do that first?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there anyone who has a change to make to the agenda?
I was going to ask for the moment of silence, but I wanted to add it to the agenda so that it would be in the public records that we did provide a moment of silence for Harold in perpetuity with the notes.
Okay. I'm certain it'll be in the minutes, and we'll add it to the agenda. Please. Anybody else?
I'd second that motion. Can maybe roll call.
Anybody else to change the agenda?
I'd like to add to it if we could.
Sure.
We all know that we recently lost our police chief resigned, and I'd like to see if we can have a discussion on that based on the fact that we have a lot of businesses already asking questions like how we're moving forward and what would we recommend for the commission. So I think we should put that up for discussion.
Is it okay with the board?
I'd agree with that.
Do we need an action item for that, or can we?
You
We
do
need
need
to
a
vote?
motion to amend the agenda with those two items.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda with those two following items.
And what item would you like to add this?
The items are concerning the discussion surrounding the future of the police chief.
Yes, sir.
And the moment.
And
And the moment of silence being also added.
I'd like one more item, though. I'm sorry. I know, Al. It's my last meeting. Can you imagine?
I'm already.
I know you're already crying.
ahead.
I'd like to make this a 4C. I'd like to talk about the signage throughout the city, if we can, regarding some of the issues that I have.
Wayfinding signage?
No, just the overall signs within our city. Yeah,
This is only a 3-hour meeting.
I know. It's just a suggestion, actually, but I think it probably will have some need for discussion.
That's fine.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So I think for the police discussion, we'll put that as 4AA that could follow the presentation by the city manager. And he might have some
He'll make some
You
comments.
you're
on that.
saying 3B or?
4AA. So it'll
4AA,
fall,
okay.
right. So it's new business, so it'll kind of fall into that
Okay.
right after him, so we can have that comments or discussion there.
Then we need a motion for all three.
Yes.
You want to make it?
Yes,
That's
I'd like to
fine.
make a motion to accept the agenda with the necessary corrections.
B.
Got a second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, there we are.
And now we're at public comments.
Now for public comments. Public comments are we 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
We're 2 minutes, okay.
And Suzanne's keeping time, and I know we have a couple members from the public that would like to speak. So.
Okay. So if you'd step up and give us your name and address.
Good morning, Daniel Rose, 323 Northeast 6th Avenue. Without taking my time, I just want to let you know the funeral, spoke to the family, the funeral arrangements for Mr. Van Arnhem is going to be Friday. So what I'll do is I'll send an email to Ms. Simon, and she can forward it to you guys, so if you want to attend, but it's going to be Friday from what I'm gathering right now, so
Thank you.
let me know when I'm on the
Okay.
clock.
Now.
Okay, I'm here to talk about Daniel Hartwell and the Beatles on the Beach event. Since February 2024, I've sent emails to Laura, the DDA attorney, expressing my major concerns about trademark infringements and issues about the event. I've asked the DDA to inquire whether Mr. Hartwell has the right to use those Beatles trademarks like the Yellow Submarine because they're owned by Apple Corp. Limited, and this would include the Yellow Submarine, Beatles logos, T-shirts, and everything else. It's only a matter of time before the city gets sued because the law firm that does these lawsuits are right here in South Florida. So my major concern is the blatant theft of these Beatles IPs for these events. In my opinion, the last contract I saw had an indemnification from Mr. Hartwell and United We Rock for any liability. So it's kind of like an admission that he's doing it. And my concern is his indemnification. Does he have enough money to pay the lawyers to defend it and to pay the city? Because just because you have an indemnification, the Beatles lawyers aren't going to let the city off the hook. You're still responsible, and we are. So then in prior years, how much money has he received and how much has he submitted? Because these contracts call for rebate, that we're supposed to get X dollars for tickets sold. We've never gotten any money. So my suggestion is we audit this event for the last 5 years, because I know he's claiming he lost money, but that's irrelevant because you're a promoter, I promote events, you win, you lose. It's not the city's responsibility. So I'd also like to know how much money he gets paid to promote these concerts at Old School Square, because if you look at Galoopi's, you guys are losing money on these events, and there's a place called Galoopi's in Deerfield that hosts cover bands, and they're easy to get. You can Google them. My opinion on the Beatles event, I'm from England. My dad's actually in the Led Zeppelin documentary that just came out. The event's stale. You can't do it every year. Like the NFL draft moves from city to city now because it can't be in New York every year. The Sports Card National, which I attend, is every year. It's in Chicago, Cleveland, or somewhere else. You can't have this event every year. It's getting stale. So my concern is we have an open checkbook for this event. At the end of the day, I encourage an audit of this to make sure, and then have someone show that they have the rights to use those logos, because we're going to get sued, and it's not going to be funny. It's going to cost millions if it happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Good morning. Afternoon, I guess. My name is David Tripp. I'm the head of Human Resources for Vertical Bridge. We should be moving right across the street here in just a few weeks. So I just wanted to kind of say we're super excited about coming. We have 400 employees, 200 will be based right here in downtown Delray, with the other 200 coming here on a frequent basis. So talk to Laura. We're really looking forward to being here and being a great, kind of steward of our business as well as our community. Vertical Bridge takes a lot of pride in what we do. We see 3 words normally come out: fast, friendly, and flexible. And that's what we hope to be. And we welcome to working with everybody here and really kind of adding to this great city and what you guys do here. So looking forward to meeting everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for
Welcome.
coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I apologize, but I don't know what Vertical Bridge is, and we're very excited to have you here. And the second kind of question would be, what brought you to downtown Delray so we can try to do it again and get somebody else like yourself here?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Vertical Bridge basically builds cell towers throughout the U.S., and then we lease that space up to the carriers, primarily Verizon, AT&T, and so forth. So the company's 10 years old, and we're looking to write the next 10-year chapter to that. And what brought us here is our founder, Alex Gelman, lives right here. Our new CEO, Ron Bizik, lives right here in Delray, as well as quite a few of our other executives, and love it here. We embrace South Florida and really echo, our culture echoes a lot of things that you guys do here in Delray, right? It's a very opening city as far as welcoming, and we want to be that way as well. We think about what we do at Vertical Bridge is connecting our communities. If you think about what wireless does, that's what we're about. And again, I know our charitable organization, VBCN, has donated over $22 million in that 10 years, so we look to do that and help out. We help out the local schools here at Habitat for Humanity already, so we'll continue to try to do that and be stewards, good stewards of the community. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Welcome. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Thank
forward
you
to
for
seeing
taking
you.
the time to come and say hello. Really.
Yes.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you,
And your
David.
letter was good as well. We took the time to read that. That
Yeah.
was awesome. So thank you.
Need your name and address.
Tom Carney, 828 Eastview Avenue, Delray Beach, Florida, 33483. I'm here because you're not live streaming anymore.
No, we are.
Oh, you
We
are?
today.
Well, I just saw that you were thinking about not live streaming anymore. And with, of course, with all the great tax dollars you get, both from your own taxing district and from the city, I would hope you would strongly reconsider that view. I think the public has a right to know what goes on in this particular agency. at all times. And so any discussion to not live stream, I think is really not very transparent of you. And I think really, I'm not sure you're even allowed to do it because you do get a lot of tax dollars. Number two, I appointed Harold Van Arnhem to this board. He's been a great friend for 20 years. He did a lot of charitable work on the side. He's kind to everybody, tough businessman, but kind to everyone. And he will be sorely missed. And I think he was not, I guess I appointed him not long ago, 6 or 8 months ago, right? Was a year ago. And you know, when I spoke to him over the last couple of months, he was getting tired, but never lost his spirit. And I called him just last week to give him some good cheer, and he was very nice on the phone. And that's the kind of guy he was. So he's going to be really missed by me and others in the town who I think he did awful lot of work. And the last thing is, and I'm only going to make this comment. I heard some discussion about how the process is going to go forward in the replacement, and that this board wants to discuss who to tell the commission who they should support. I would only recommend one thing to you: stay in your own lane. The commission has an inherent ability on its own to make its own choices of who it wants to be on its boards. And so I don't really think that we need suggestions from you all as a formal board. If you want, I can't stop people from calling people saying who they like, but I certainly don't think you should have any formal board action on how you think the process should go, because the local rules kind of take care of it as well as your own bylaws. Thank you all.
Thank you,
2
sir.
minutes.
Was it 2 minutes?
Thank you, Mayor.
You did good. Thank you.
Any
Oh,
other
okay.
comments?
We haven't. Are you coming? Come, please, step forward.
Hi, my name is Michelle Sadownik. I reside at 106 South Longport Circle, Delray Beach, Florida, apartment F. The reason I'm here today is because I'd like to talk about, I would like to recognize Daniel Hartwell and everything that he does for our community. So I want to take a moment to just say how incredible his work is. I'm a realtor in Delray Beach. I'm also a local host for American Dream TV. And through his events, like the Beatles on the Beach and many other concerts he produces, these events just bring joy and culture to all of our residents. I believe they generate substantial revenue for our city, support local businesses, and attract tourism that fuels our local economy. He's genuinely put Delray Beach on the map, and everyone knows him as that guy in the Beatles outfit. His passion and energy are infectious, and he's become a beloved symbol of what makes our city so special. He's just not just a talented producer, he's an exceptional human being who truly cares deeply about our community. As a local realtor, I consistently highlight these events to my clients as part of what makes living here so desirable. I've even featured them on a national TV show through American Dream TV. It's Emmy nominated. And events like Daniel's event set Delray Beach apart, creating an unmatched lifestyle and culture that attracts new residents and keep our city thriving. I respectfully urge you to continue supporting his efforts. They are vital for the part of our community's identity and cultural heartbeat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. Sadly, it's my first meeting, and I've been a business owner in Delray Beach for 6 years. So I'm glad to be here. My name is Fern L. Khan. I own Dancing Lion Studio, which is a yoga studio and meditation center and healing arts center, downtown Delray. And I'm going to piggyback off of her eloquent speech. I'm sorry, what was your name? Michelle. In the support for the Beatles on the Beach weekend. I did participate as a business owner this year. I offered Beatles at the ashram 2 mornings of meditation. The community loved it. And I use these events to bring people to my studio and also to the city. The other events, the free concerts have been a wonderful addition. And this particular weekend is vibrant, and I think it also allows people to come back to the city who may have not visited before. They're here for the weekend. A lot of venues are used. We come together as a group to enliven the city, and it feels like a beautiful holistic event. So I encourage you to think about continuing to offer it. As a business owner, we are looking for ways to obviously build our businesses, and these events make Delray Beach very unique, extremely unique. So I had nothing written. This is coming from my heart. I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate the time to speak to you all. And come do some yoga.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Erica Sherman. I live at 305 Southeast 7th Avenue in Delray Beach. I'm here as the person who learned so much after Beatles on the Beach this past year in terms of new places to go. I'd like to say that my family looks forward to this event, and we invite people from up north, friends and family, to come down for it to join in the fun. For those of us who live locally, it really becomes a staycation, because those of us who get stuck in the work and the cleaning, all of our day-to-day mundane things, now we're actually making a vacation out of it. The shopping that's done during these days required me to take my golf cart. I should have brought the truck. I had to keep running home to bring the bags home, but it was great. Wonderful time. We ate on the avenue so much more than we normally do. Experiencing new places. The library, hadn't been in the library yet. They had several events in the library, which brought me there and learned about different things. Very cool. So they really brought me into this community. That is new to me, just a few years. It's just really fantastic. I really feel that this creates new customers for businesses and return customers, as I am one of them. So we love it, we look forward to it, and cannot wait. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay.
Hey board, how are you guys? My name is Billy Cunningham. I'm in support of Beatles on the Beach. I think it's a great resource for Delray Beach to provide entertainment for the community, and I honestly think that the auditorium is underutilized, and I think there needs to be more things going on at Old School Square. And I'm in the middle of working on with Daniel to bring even bigger headliners into Delray Beach as we work through it in the next few months. We do a toy drive every year. Our next toy drive, we plan to do it at Old School Square, and we're in talks with some big headliners as well. But I think Beatles on the Beach, it's something that you guys should continue to do. I don't see the reason why you would want to stop something like that. Delray Beach is a small, fun town, beach town, and I think stopping something like that would only stop the vision that I think everybody's created over the years, being born and raised here. I think I would continue to do that. I don't see the reason to stop something like that. I would actually encourage to do it more. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you provide your address for the record, please?
32 Southeast 2nd Ave. Thanks.
Ms. Commissioner? Art. Hi.
Hi, my name's Scott Hulk. I live at 6 Colonial Club Drive, and it's Boynton Beach, so I'm just across the line. I hope that you won't count that against me. But I moved here, I retired in 2018, moved down here, and the first thing when I came to Delray, the first thing I saw was Beatles on the Beach, honestly. And I was like, what is this? This is like the coolest thing. For a person my age, this is like what I was like, I couldn't believe I had discovered it. And so 2 years after that, I found myself getting divorced, and I reached out to a guy who was running down the street one day. It was Daniel Hartwell. He encouraged me. I said, I'd love to volunteer for your organization. I love Beatles on the Beach. I love what you're doing here for the community. And he let me volunteer, and then after a while, he just was like, here, just take some money. He was like trying to pay me. I'm like, it's okay. I just want to volunteer because I'm retired. But he's just been very generous with me. He made me his production manager. I get to partner now with the DDA for the events down here at Old School Square, which I absolutely love. The DDA is a fantastic group of people. I really appreciate them and appreciate the opportunities and the experiences I've had with them, and hope that it continues. And I certainly hope Beatles on the Beach continues, because that was like my big thing when I moved here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Daniel, did you bring anyone else?
I didn't bring anyone else.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Then I guess we're ready to go.
Yes.
We have a special presentation from the city manager today. And so,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon to each of you. Good to see you all. Terrence Moore, do I have to offer my address as well?
we know where to find you.
Yep. Well, this is one location, home away from home, Delray Beach City Hall, but for the record, 4435 Regal Court, Delray Beach, Florida, 33445. I like to proudly share with people that I'm actually a resident and homeowner of Delray Beach as well, so actually quite proud of that since day one. The purpose of my engagement today is somewhat informal, and there's no PowerPoint presentation or any other distribution in any way. I'm simply here to visit with the Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors to discuss protocols moving forward in terms of staff engagement. Quite frankly, the genesis of my interest in being here is the experiences that took place during your last board meeting. That today's engagement precludes a discussion I had with both Executive Director Laura Simon and Board Chairman Al Castillo 1 week ago today, of which my interest was to talk with them specifically as to the fact that the Office of the City Manager does what it can to be a very responsive and attentive entity of the City of Delray Beach, not to mention the fact that Assistant City Manager Jeff Orris and I are incredibly gracious and magnanimous individuals. And it is likewise reasonable that we do what we can to expect the same level of treatment in return. With that, I wish to also emphasize that the professional obligations of department directors lie with the Office of the City Manager. In other words, as department directors report to the Office of the City Manager, we set expectations in terms of responsiveness, attentiveness to do as much as we possibly can. And quite frankly, I think that's a job we all do fairly well. Nevertheless, it is a very continuous process, and frankly, my conscience is clear because, of course, a number of you all, on an individual basis, for a number of reasons, a myriad of reasons, has had good experiences to that effect. You reach out to us, we respond with the quickness, as I like to put it, and we have a good experience doing so because that level of responsiveness and attentiveness on a frequent and consistent basis comes with enthusiasm. My interest is to likewise continue to cultivate that with all department directors and other agents of the City of Delray Beach that serve both the organization and the community. And therefore, any direct engagement along these lines would not only not be necessary, but in many respects counterproductive. Therefore, these are the protocols we will outline moving forward. Likewise, Assistant City Manager Jeff Orris, in his formal capacity, is the liaison to the Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors, and he and I are working collaboratively to tighten up protocols such that he has what he needs, the tools and strategies to engage and address any specific concerns that may be experienced at the Downtown Development Authority Board level. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I've had my discussions with department directors regarding protocols and expectations moving forward via not the last one, but the last two executive leadership team meetings, thus my interest in visiting with you all because I thought it was appropriate that you all each hear from me individually. Not to mention the fact we remain comfortable and confident of our abilities to be responsive and attentive and in a gracious and magnanimous fashion in doing so at all times. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are, number one. Number two, Ms. Simon, you shared with me email communication this morning regarding thoughts and considerations relative to parking and other related dynamics as it pertains to the Downtown Development Authority District, the vicinity. I'm pleased to share with the board that the City Commission and I will engage a dialogue to this effect during the July 8th regular meeting. As my professional obligation is to the City Commission, I have informed them of guidance and direction to proceed in this regard regarding the myriad of subjects that relate to parking opportunities in the future, not to mention policy considerations that are to be offered by the City Commission by way of the dialogue in which we will facilitate. given the fact that the Downtown Development Authority has a cogent interest in the subject matter or subject matters, plural, in this regard, I would welcome and encourage you all's attendance so that you all can give the City Commission an opportunity to offer their policy direction and guidance so that staff can execute and engage accordingly. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are. To summarize the first point, Mr. Orris will serve as the principal point of contact. He and I will convene whenever necessary to determine what resources on a staff human resources basis are necessary to facilitate any issues or concerns that might be evident. Nevertheless, please know with the Office of the City Manager, you have a very responsive and attentive focus, as you all know individually from previous experiences as well. I will also make myself available to talk a little bit about the transition involving Chief of Police, given Mr. Halliburton's interest in dialogue in that regard, and I believe that's been added as the next agenda item. Before I address that particular topic, which should be succinct because I've already taken appropriate steps and I'll be more than happy to share that with you all, any specific questions, concerns, thoughts, observations regarding what I've just shared? Ms. Woodson.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Good to see you.
You too, ma'am.
One of the things that I wanted to share, I don't know that this got or was transferred to you. I did write an email to Laura as well as Quentin regarding the apology to Anthea for some of the statements that were made during our meeting. I wanted to make sure that she was acknowledged as being someone who should be treated with humanity.
Yes, ma'am.
In her position, as well as a servant of the city. I wanted to make sure that she was aware that there were steps to try and curtail what was being brought forth during that meeting. But I think that we had a very passionate individual who wanted to get everything off of his chest regarding what he felt was the process. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that there was an apology that was extended to Anthea and her department for some of the things that were stated during the meeting that did not represent the professionalism of this board, and that she should be recognized as someone that we know is working towards a better Delray. But we also, through transparency, must remember that we are all servants. You know, I volunteer. None of us are getting paid. And so we show up and do the best job that we can in the capacity that we participate in as being the group that provides feedback from our folks that we support. And so in that, yes, we do need to tighten up some of our structures and our procedures, as you've stated here, to make sure that when we are presenting the people from the city our ideas and our perspectives, that it is done professionally. And that is something that, you know, I've tried to continue to do, and I think my colleagues recognized that last meeting. We did go a little beyond the line, and we do owe your division an apology for that behavior.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson, and I appreciate that personally and professionally because it was tough, and I had a little work to do at the conclusion of your last board meeting, quite frankly. And given the sentiments you've just shared here publicly today at the June 9th meeting, I will consider this to be a public apology. And if the board is comfortable in that regard, I think that's a very excellent step forward to getting us to the absolute best place we need to be, because that's a long, continuous process to continue to cultivate an environment of trust and support for one another. Nevertheless, the protocols I've just talked about will have to remain in place for the indefinite period of time because, of course, this most recent experience was also a good example, and we're referring to Mr. Peary himself. As in some cases, as in this regard, it became necessary for the Office of the City Manager, and when I state in this case the Office of the City Manager, I don't mean Assistant City Manager Jeff Orris, I mean City Manager Terrence R. Moore, to insert myself accordingly and to facilitate what we can. And as usually, typically, commonly is the case, we were able to achieve a responsive and attentive outcome, thus the approvals by the City Commission during the June 3rd meeting 6 days ago today. So the point in that regard, ladies and gentlemen, is that that is a good example, a cogent example of how we maintain a pulse in terms of when we need to insert ourselves or what level of officials need to be involved in any particular consideration to achieve a productive outcome. And that was in fact the case despite the inconveniences as noted in your comments, Ms. Wilson. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate that, and thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Jim?
Just want to make a comment, and certainly if I was out of line at this meeting as well, I certainly apologies there. I think what we're trying to do is the best we can for our constituents, which is the people that are paying the taxes in the downtown DDA, that there's a separate tax and everything else and so forth. And we're hearing from a lot of these people on the front side, so forth, a lot of the business owners, et cetera, and we're just looking for solutions, whatever those solutions are. I see this recommendation here about a way to expedite approvals and things like that. I think that's great. I think previously, a couple of years back, there was a discussion about combining the Site Plan Review Appearance Board and the Planning and Zoning Board. And anything that can make those approvals and things like that, certainly we don't want to skip any processes or anything else, so forth, I think are very important and helpful to the businesses that are looking to come here. I know that there's a lot of changes happening to the north and to the south of us, where there's a lot of new development happening and so forth. And we got to keep in mind that, you know, we've been the hot spot. Again, it used to always be do it our way or go to Delray, right? Delray is the hot spot, but we love to be able to keep our eye on the ball and continue to have people wanting to come here, because as of other downtowns immediately to the south of us and immediately to the north of us get redone and additional development, there's going to be push for those dollars, right? I had a quick seasonal salad at Sazio's before I came here, and the one thing the owner said, he says, it's just been very, very slow right now. So whatever we can do jointly to help support the businesses that are here, I think that's what you all should be doing in any way, shape, and form. Thank you.
Yes, sir, and staff agrees with those sentiments, which aligns with the path forward relative to doing what we can to create efficiencies in the review process to get to the absolute best place possible. We understand and fully support the advocacy role of the Downtown Development Authority, and given what I just talked about as far as the Office of the City Manager, doing what we can to see that efficiencies are in fact achieved. Any experiences that had been the case before should not be repeated. So we look forward to getting to that absolute best place as well, and it does align quite nicely with some of the current realities of the day you just articulated, Mr. Knight. So we look forward to that as well.
Brian? You good?
Yeah, I'm good for now.
Anyone else?
How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Halliburton?
You know, I've been on your side since day one.
I appreciate
everything you've done when what's gone on. But I've been on this board for a year, and it's the same complaints, or this is not going on, this is not going on, that we get from the people in our DDA area of responsibility, right? So, you know, I wasn't a fan of Sam, and we got rid of Sam and brought a new code lady in, Jerry, and you saw the difference like that, right? And that was awesome to see. You know, people were upset about some fines, but we all found our way through it. The morale went up. You know, you see people every Saturday and Sunday. I see guys over there doing their job that I didn't see before, right? So all I'm asking is, your job's busy enough as it is. We know that. And you rely on your directors to give you everything you need to keep moving forward. All I'm hoping we could get to, or make some kind of agreement, or, you know, meet in the middle where the DDA can have more of what's going on as far as the DDA areas, right? Because we bring you everything. We hear from our businesses, you know, this is dirty, this is messed up, blah, blah, blah. Homeless is picking back up again. And it's like, if we say it like, oh, the homeless is back, it doesn't get addressed. You know what I mean? So you got to change the tone a little bit. And last meeting, it was, I think we went overboard, right? But it was also a group of things that all went into one. This has been like the same issue from the people trying to open their business and everything, but we don't see that part where they're messed up. All we hear is where the city's messed up. And I know Anthea's job, maybe she needs more people or something, because she does a hell of a job. And I talked to her right after that. I was like, look, I'm not trying to, you know, but it was just one thing after the other, So that's why I sent my email saying I apologize. It was over. It was, you know, we said stuff we didn't have to say. It didn't need to be said, right? But if we knew more about what was going on, so that way we could tell that business owner when we walk over to him, say, look, you messed up on this, you messed up on this, you messed up on this. Don't blame it on them.
Right.
you know? So, and I think Brian Rosen brought that up 6 months ago, if there's a way we could be kind of on the same page, because we are the eyes and ears of our DDA area. And we're on it every day. I'm on the beach every day doing what I'm supposed to do and notifying the powers that be as far as things that are going on. But when we are told that, you know, and no disrespect to Mr. Orris, is when he says, I'm the one who's going to take care of it, you got me. And I still got to go to, like, we address it, and then he says, go in the portal, what, blah, blah, blah. And then I got a code enforcement officer say, hey, here's what's going on. And it gets done, you know, as opposed to put it on the website or however you want to do it. But long story short, we have to be able to work together a little bit better than we are now, because
Yes, we do.
It should have never got this far.
No, it should not have.
And I apologize again for how the last meeting went. I jumped on it a little bit, and I was like, okay. That's what I said to the guy when he first opened. I said, so assuming you're 100% correct, this is messed up.
Right.
Right? And,
Right.
and he was 100% not correct.
Right.
So.
And
Can I say something?
I want to
along those
respond,
lines?
but
Yes.
That's me.
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
Go.
If I may. I like to kind of dovetail with what Mr. Halliburton has said in reference to that. My concern, and it goes back to what the mayor said earlier, transparency to me is paramount. And through the email that we received, it stated that that department was not sending people to our meetings for, I guess, personal reasons, that they were opting out of not sending anyone. Had that gentleman been here and someone from the city who was working on that case been in the room to speak or rebut or to provide insight, I think there would have been a different outcome. But the email that we received stated that that is why people weren't sent to our meetings, because of whatever emotional issue there was. So I think that process needs to be reinstated, only to cover situations like this where we could have had a voice that was providing the timeline from the city to compare to the timeline of the business owner. So I just think that is something that it looks like through this, because I took down the notes, and you know this is my last meeting, Mr. Moore, except they added another budget meeting at the end to try to hold me captive.
Of course.
We may change the date on that.
Yes, if you can push it to July, that'd be great. I'm just saying. But if Mr. Orris is going to be the representative, will he have information to counter some of the business owners that may come forth and not provide appropriate information or information that's lacking detail? That's what I would like to request to make sure that it's
if I may.
And I'd like to respond. If I
Okay,
may,
well,
Mr. Chairman.
I'm gonna do this so we can cut this shorter and give you a chance to sit down. As I told you when we had our meeting, I brought this up and made it an agenda item because it was important enough to get a response. And boy, have we gotten a good response. I looked at the letter that you presented us with from Anthea, and I read it. And as you can see, we have comments. And I wrote a long email, and I decided instead to read it today if you brought it up. So if you will. And it was that I want to take a moment to speak about the strength and guidance and the need that we have in our community, particularly when it comes to developmental services and the process by which we make critical decisions. At first, I was in agreement with the proposal, as Mr. Knight said, suggesting that we hold direct meetings, that we no longer hold direct meetings on individual development projects. On the surface, it seemed like a reasonable step toward efficiency. But after witnessing what recently happened with the parking board and the serious discussion about potentially eliminating it at the commission meeting, I had to pause and reflect. That moment made something very clear. It's not just about tradition. It's about transparency, accountability, and public trust. Direct meetings for the developmental projects give our residents a seat at the table. They allow questions to be asked, concerns to be heard, and ideas to be shared before decisions are finalized. When we eliminate those meetings, we risk cutting off the vital connection between the people and the process. So today I want to say that I no longer support removing direct meetings on individual projects. We need them. They are essential to good governance and to making sure that our downtown grows in a way that respects everybody's voice. So let's continue to build together with clarity, with care, and with the input of all the people that we serve. So I think that our charter is pretty clear on this. We're supposed to evaluate these projects. The Downtown Development Authority was created specifically with this in mind. And for 50 years, we've been doing it this way. And I don't want to see, and I would hope that the board will support, asking that we not cancel direct meetings, that projects continue to be brought forward so that the public and the DDA have the opportunity to question them, to discuss them, and hopefully to avoid situations like the recent advocacy where I brought that up at the meeting. I know we weren't perfect, and I know apologies are in order. I know protocols were stepped upon. Mostly I'll take responsibility for that. I am learning to be a chairman of the board. This is a new thing for me, and perhaps I should have stopped it earlier on. I have immense respect for what you do and for the process that the city needs to perform. But there's always a few things that rise above, as we brought up at our meeting, and need to be addressed individually. And that was why I asked that be an agenda item. So with that, I hope you'll reconsider and allow us to continue to have regular developmental services staff come and present the projects with the people who provide those projects, so that we have our chance for the public to address it. Well,
may I respond? I'd just like to take care of Ms. Woodson and Mr. Halliburton.
Okay, I'll go last.
One more
and then
time.
we'll go from there.
You guys, please put me in the queue.
May I please?
Chairman.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So, again, working with Assistant City Manager Jeff Forrest, in a number of respects, that is an appropriate protocol because, of course, working closely with me, I set those expectations. But another compelling factor is that Mr. Orris is the lead support contact for the Department of Development Services. Therefore, he is empowered and he has the ability and opportunity to offer leadership and guidance to take under consideration all points of view so that we can determine what's appropriate, what's necessary, so as to alleviate any issues, challenges, or concerns that might be expressed. So without being in position for me to talk to you specifically as to how that will work, that will vary depending on any particular case, any particular situation. What I think you all should recognize is that the Office of the City Manager will be it. We'll do what we can to be as responsive and attentive as we possibly can under any circumstances, to the degree that professionalism is to be achieved across the board. That is a mutually inclusive environment. I emphasize inclusive because it does include you all as a Downtown Development Authority, as individual professionals, and the City of Delray Beach, making sure that we have efficient processes in place to get to the absolute best place possible without compromising transparency. Yep. So we have work to do. That is the message. That is the direction going forward. It deserves an opportunity to be successful, and it takes everybody working collaboratively and being on the same accord in terms of understanding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The only thing I was just going to mention, in respect to the ability to see these projects coming through, is I do think it is an important part of the process. And one of the ways I've brought up in the past about possibly streamlining, because we do want to streamline this process for staff and for folks, is bringing the Parking Advisory Board into the DDA, only because they're having trouble having quorums. It's slowing things down. You'd be subtracting another board that someone has to go to on a project. And again, I do think it's important. I think maybe the commission does like to hear what the DDA, thoughts and opinions are on the developments, when they come up. It's more of an advisory board, but we do represent a number of the constituents in the specific downtown area. So
Many of us have been on that parking board.
Of course.
Yeah. That's just, again, my thoughts and maybe something to think about. I've brought up and, maybe it makes sense, a way to streamline, but also keep us part of the process.
Very well, ladies and gentlemen. And again, my invitation for the July 8th City Commission meeting. I've had a discussion about this during the June 3rd meeting a week ago, tomorrow. And we are preparing specific details as well as other matters related to parking dynamics, such that the City Commission can be given the opportunity to provide its policy direction that will likewise set the tone for what capabilities exist moving forward.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
So to end it, I hope there's a way we can all move forward together and not think about what happened before and just start over and do things the right way.
I appreciate that, and that is my intent to move forward, move beyond the last meeting. Thus, my ability to be here this afternoon to offer you those sentiments and to take us forward accordingly.
Mr. Moore, I just want to say thank you for your comments and clarification on all this. Definitely, we were a little frustrated at the last meeting, but there's two sides to every story. Obviously, when we heard one of the sides, you guys are doing a fantastic job. We just wanted to find a solution to make this more efficient, and it sounds like you guys are working towards that. So thank
Yes,
you
sir.
guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And then also, we'll talk about the recording and where the meetings may be in the future. I know that, the mayor did stop by and I have you here about, the costs, and keeping us in this room. I think it's something we'll make a consensus on this meeting. But again, I think we maybe work with you
Of course.
on these. Okay.
Yes, sir. Work with myself, Mr. Orris, and we'll take it from there. And there has been an interest relative to cost recovery associated with that practice. It's a very minimal consideration, a couple $100 per meeting, given the technological resources, the staff resources made available to that effect. And given the interest you've all expressed relative to transparency, having the technological capability of streaming meetings and so on, that thought process would align quite nicely. So I'll leave that to you, of course, but that would be my consideration.
One more thing in regard to this letter. I mean, I'm kind of want to echo what Al said here. These are our constituents. This is a great opportunity for us to get ahead of everything as well. I mean, I'd like to think Laura's got, the most detailed what's going on downtown because that's her job. I mean, so I think she'd be a great process to get started at the beginning. And I think, in my opinion, these projects should be coming through us being our constituents and so forth. But my opinion on the matter.
And we'll do what we can to strike a balance. As I've stated several times in this presentation, there's work to be done. And again, no one should be treated poorly for any reason. Nevertheless, if I may, Mr. Chairman. And we've moved forward from that. So given the clarity having just been offered this afternoon, as well as some of the feedback we've been able to witness this afternoon, listening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take under consideration all points of view, and we go forward.
So we're not totally clear on whether we're going to continue with the practice that we've had for 53 years?
As I've stated, I have work in which to evaluate to make a determination as to what resources are appropriate and necessary to get to the place. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. I'm simply suggesting that I will take under consideration what your feedback is. What I will not entertain is processes that will compromise or slow down processes, because I hear a lot of what you all hear, and that is an expectation of efficiency, responsiveness, attentiveness, whatever can be offered to streamline considerations in that regard. So my obligation as city manager is to take all points under consideration and do what can be done to help strike a balance such that all concerns are alleviated. So it's not appropriate for me to engage in a specific debate in terms of what that explicitly may or may not look like. However, the message is clear that we will do what we can to strike every balance possible such that concerns, complaints, call them what you will be minimized, because that doesn't help the office of the city manager or any other department, nor does it help the Downtown Development Authority whenever those experiences are had, whether real or perceived. So allow us to move forward. I've already offered direction to that effect. It is likewise imminent, but we'll continue to dialogue based on the protocols I've structured.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time and doing all that without a slideshow and without notes. I'm really impressed.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm here for one other topic as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
Mr. Chair, before we
hold on,
jump
hold on.
to the other topic.
Go.
I guess one question I do have is that in this letter here, it mentions that starting in June, we'll get a letter, right? And it'll say what the applications are. Do we know when that is supposed to come out? So is it going to be consistent? Is it going to be beginning of the month, the end of the month? I know we're in transition right now, whatever else, so forth, but it would be great to have it at the beginning of the month. I don't know if that's going in arrears for the ones that were submitted in May, or how that's going to be done, but would be helpful, and I think it would also be helpful to have somebody, either a representative of the board or the DDA staff, to be at, I think, the TAC meeting, which is one of the very first meetings in the beginning. I think it would be helpful for everybody to have that, if that's the way it's going to go. If it's not going to go, if the items aren't going to come here, so at least we can be cognizant of what's going on and so forth.
Fair enough, and that would be part of the commitment to strike balances accordingly. For the month of June, the letter also explicitly talks about the e-service processing, electronic service processing. There will be a workshop or a training session here in City Hall, Tuesday, June 17th. And as I've shared in my individual discussion with Chairman Castillo and Executive Director Simon a week ago today, I would encourage duly appointed representatives of the Downtown Development Authority to participate in that exercise so as to become thoroughly familiar with what's happening there, because that's an excellent opportunity for streamlining efficiencies in operations that had not yet been experienced. So the fact that development applications will now become possible at any given time, as opposed to X number of days a week in terms of operations of the Department of Development Services, this is a wonderful opportunity to be on the ground floor with respect to how that process will work. So in response to your observations, Mr. Knight, as we get past that place, June 17th, creating the environment to kick that off in July, probably the beginning of July will be appropriate to begin that notification process. So Mr. Orris, working closely with Ms. Geniotis, let's do what we can to satisfy that consideration. Thank you. You're welcome. So while I'm here,
yes,
let's talk about the Chief of Police transition per the request of Mr. Halliburton earlier in your meeting. So Russ Major has tendered his resignation. He will be retiring from the city of Delray Beach, actually by the end of the month, effectively. However, he will be on board actively until the end of this week. As I've shared publicly via press release and other communication during the past few days, I've been quite busy with this, as you all can probably imagine. Assistant Chief of Police Daryl Hunter will be appointed interim Chief of Police. His role will begin effective Monday, June 16th. So as to prepare accordingly, and I've actually began the process a few days ago, spending necessary time to discuss expectations moving forward, as well as him having the opportunity to offer leadership, guidance, responsiveness, and attentiveness that the department, I think, deserves, likewise the community as a whole. So this will be the case for the coming months, and thus he'll have the opportunity to offer his presence and to really demonstrate opportunities to be the absolute best possible. So for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, I think all is well in hand. And as far as Chief Major, I wish to point out, this is truly an administrative function between the Office of the City Manager and the Office of the Chief of Police. However, I do what I can to encourage keeping the community up to date and informed regarding any major transitions that might be experienced involving a city administration. Nevertheless, his full retirement actually became effective end of December. December 31st, 2024, there was some expression of interest to continue, and I thought it made sense at the time because, of course, we were also in the midst of a transition involving the Delray Beach Fire Rescue Department, as you all will recall. So I think we're doing pretty well in terms of building stability and leadership in that realm. Therefore, I'm not terribly concerned relative to the imminent transition involving the Delray Beach Police Department, notably the Office of the Chief of Police. Given the opportunity enjoyed by Daryl Hunter, I'm looking forward to him making a difference, making significant contributions so as to evaluate what the permanent solutions will be as we move forward as an organization. So that is where we are. It is done. I've communicated that to the Mayor and City Commission immediately, as well as public releases that outline the path forward as I've just shared here today.
We're going to can we let you go with our thanks?
Yes, you can. I'm actually late.
Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time and your support, and I appreciate the public apologies as well. We'll take that and we'll make it count. Take care and enjoy the rest of you all's meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, so item 4A, which is our millage. Jim, are you leaving?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask a question? We made 4AA comments about the police.
That's what he
chief.
just did.
Yeah, and we're, okay, I just wanted to make sure that Aaron didn't have something else he wanted to say.
Oh, sure.
Because he asked for the agenda item.
How many do we need to have a quorum?
4.
Okay.
4.
Okay, cool. Just make sure.
Would that number have been 3AA instead of 4AA?
Because
it came
because it's not
after-
really presentation, so we put it as an item, since you added it
Aaron,
as an
is there
item.
anything else you wanted
Because
to
then, because then 4A should have, never mind. 4AA comes after 4A, so it's kind of out of order. That's why
Yeah,
I was
but
asking.
because the city manager started, I thought it would be a good time.
All
Aaron,
I'm
if
trying
you-
to do is adjust it so that it's 3AA, and then we can go to 4A, which would be the millage that we're going to discuss.
Okay,
Defer
so we'll
to
make that
Quentin.
4AA?
No, it'll be 4A that we're on, but the previous would have been 3AA.
You're stalling.
Okay.
Am I
good
done?
Point. That's a good point.
Again, this is
Aaron?
my last meeting, okay?
Aaron, bring your mic down and tell us what you wanted to say, because this is your agenda item.
No, I just wanted to bring up the point that for the process of selecting a new police chief, I think that it should be looked at to look within the community and not be brought out of the community, because, you know, being 20 years in the military, when people know the crew, things tend to work better than being someone else being brought in, and then the person you don't hire, teaching that person to how to do their job in the community. So, I mean, especially with the police department, I would always recommend, just for me, I think we make the most sense to keep what you already have and move and make that work, as opposed to a new guy or a new girl, whatever they do.
Can I offer insight as well?
Yeah.
I think there are some areas within the department that could use a little more salve for cohesion to bring people back together. I think there were some decisions made that could have ruffled a few feathers. And I think this is an opportunity for the police department to move forward and to see if the interim person is someone that has a vision for the city, someone who is capable of running a large department. He has the experience. I say let this run its course and let the city commission be in charge of that. I think they're going to be including all of those thoughts, especially what you brought forth. But I think it's an opportunity for us to look at transition in a positive way on how and what the city looks like for the next 5 to 10 years. I usually would bend to what you're saying and say, hey, look internally before you look externally. But we don't know what's out there. But I definitely am of the same mind that hopefully the strength within the department will prevail, and we can have a smooth transition. What I would like to make sure of is, because safety is paramount to the city, is that we do have a smooth transition, because we've had some bumps in the road with fire as well as now police.
And you know, the police department's in a very rough spot right now.
Yes, with the
Everything.
well, no, with the contract most importantly, but yes, I understand there are some areas that do need to be highlighted as well as probably discussed,
Well-
and let the city commission do that discussion.
Because it's brought up, I will just say that there's been, the rough spot continues, and it's good that the city is looking, I think it should look inward to the people that exist now in the police force, and hopefully they stay and they help it grow back to the homeostasis that it was in before it became so chaotic lately. So I'm looking forward to the continuity of the team as it exists. Does anyone else have anything to say?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. And again, I'm just listening to everyone here, and I think that sometimes as a board, you know, it's confusing for our staff because we, you know, don't come to consensus on things, and we all just kind of talk about things. And I'm just listening to what people are saying here, and I just want to put out my thoughts real quick. And it's, you know, Daryl Hunter, you know.
Wait, are we?
We're not going to
We're on-
talk about names.
This
We're
is not
gonna-
board comments
It's
right
not
now.
our.
Oh, I thought this was for the.
The police?
Yeah, isn't that this what we're discussing?
He is the interim right now.
Yeah, no, and I
Oh,
think
Daryl
he's
Hunter,
great.
okay.
Yeah, I'm just,
Yeah, okay.
I'm just continuing. I'm not making any suggestions.
okay, very good.
You know, I'm just saying. I just want to repeat what I'm hearing from the board and see if I'm correct. And it
Okay.
seems like, and again, I'm on the same track, that, you know, Daryl, for example, has been with the city for like over 20 years. He knows this community. This is a really unique community. Our downtown is a very unique downtown. We go to these idea exchanges. We see all these downtowns throughout the country. We mingle. We hear different ideas. You really, we live here, so we get a little blinded to exactly what we have and how special it is. I just think, again, it seems like a lot of this board believes that our police force, which we have our own great city police force, has a great relationship with our businesses, understanding what our businesses are, how they operate, working with the inflow of tourists, working with all the different events we have, and that, it does appear that throughout most of this board, it seems like we all would like to see that happen. Would like to see whoever it is that it stays within, I think, people that understand the city and maybe growing someone inside the police department to be the future chief. So again, just based on hearing that, I'll go ahead and just make a motion. And again, this is just for us to share we can't share our opinion.
I mean, you just did. What is?
But there's
no action item.
There's not an action item.
I think we're dancing with fire because that's why I tried to curtail what we were saying.
Miss-
It's the city commission's
if I
decision.
may, just Mr. Moore was just here and he explained the process that he's going through. That's what it is. So I don't think you need a motion because you already know what the process is at this point.
It was an agenda item.
Yeah, I was just doing it to make sure there's consensus, really, more than anything, that we like to work within our city.
I think the item was brought up for information purposes since he was here and to express some thoughts, which you all have done. So
we got a lot of information from this board, so let's move on. You're right, and I agree with you, and they do agree with you, and there is a consensus, but we can't vote on it.
All right.
So,
Yeah,
time
or
for the
share.
millage.
I mean, I think having this discussion here, I think is good. I think it's
Yeah,
more
I
than
think-
for us to send a letter or support or that. I think that we
It's
can
not-
follow the process and see.
Yeah, I think what
that's
I heard is-
Brian's leaning towards.
Yeah,
right?
you're supporting what Mr. Moore already said he's doing. So I think the big picture is that you're supporting
saying
that.
we're supporting what he's supporting. Then
I mean, you don't.
I mean, just to be nice.
I would just recommend that if instead of just trying to step out of bounds here, is that show up at the city commission meeting and say, hey, we support X, Y, and Z, whatever process it is, hiring within or whatever else, so forth. I think that
It is the city.
and I think it's important that we get in front of the city commission more often as a DDA board or individuals or whatever else, so forth. I think it's very important.
It is. And I see you there too, my friend. I watch the videos, so, which is, again, like, we'll come to the video comment here in the future.
Is
So
that
I
the meeting
like
is
that.
July 8th, if I'm
It
correct?
is.
It's July 8th, so
Yeah.
mark your calendar if you
I
have
did right
things
here.
that you'd like to bring forth.
July 8th, and then there's Tuesday, June 17th, the eve permitting.
Yep.
I got that on my notes.
That is actually the next commission meeting. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that, because it is the city manager's decision on who the next police chief is, I just want to make sure he heard from the board that what we think to help out with the process.
And I think
And
you
Jeff
got
is
that.
still
I think
here,
you
so
got
our
that,
city-
and I think we had a
assistant city
chance.
manager.
I'm pretty happy with what we said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have to move on.
Right.
The
and
millage.
To that point, I mean, Jeff Orris, Assistant City Manager Orris, is still present in our meetings here as well.
Oh,
so,
I couldn't even see him.
So
I got you.
he's taking
Yeah.
notes, I'm sure.
Good.
Okay.
Millage.
Yes, thank you. So I'm now on 4A, which is our fiscal year 25-26, our 1 mil levy, where I've provided everyone with the county's report to us, as well as a letter which shows that our DDA district has increased in property value, a taxable value of $2,141,481,108, which is a significant increase of almost 11% over fiscal year 24-25. And based on our charter and our statute, it is the board's responsibility to set. Our maximum is a 1 mil assessment on the DDA district properties for our current fiscal year to fund the operation and reinvestment back into the downtown of our organization. So I'll open it up with any questions or comments. But we do need to set, with this meeting as an action, to set the 1 mil or the millage for the coming year.
I'd like to put it out there that we keep the millage rate the way it is, the same for the 1 mil. And the reason why I say that is that the ambassadors work quite a bit with the police. There's pressure on the police right now and on their budget and everything else. And the ambassadors do a great job of getting up in the morning, checking where people maybe they shouldn't be hanging out and so forth, and kind of moving them along and so forth. So I would be put forth a motion that we go ahead and accept it with the 1 mil. That'd be my
Second.
recommendation.
Second, by Cole.
Is there any other comment and
Second discussion,
before
yeah.
we vote on that?
I'd like to, and I am in support of what Jim has brought forth for obvious reasons, but also because I believe that we're looking at, is it 100 years, Laura, that we're moving into?
For
Delray?
125.
125. And we are probably looking at some needs for some upgrades around the town that the DDA would be responsible for in terms of helping to support the city's mission to keep us clean and safe and organizationally. So I would also offer that I think, and again, I'm leaving so you guys can take this with a grain of salt, that I think you're going to be growing because you have some other needs that are arising in your department that are going to need a person to take you forward. So we need to look forward to the increase in maybe 1 to 2 employees to help level off some of the workload that's coming forth with the growth of the department as well as the city.
Brian? No? Okay. Anyone? Aaron? Cole?
I'll just say it's an investment into downtown. If you look at it on property per property basis, it's really not a big change. So I think, keeping it at $1 million
Before
makes
we
sense.
vote. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
cut-
go ahead. I'm done.
Before we vote, I just wanted to say that I couldn't be more proud of the manner in which you use the money and how you spend it, the staff that you've employed, the work that you do, adding in the Old School Square, having the city cut our budget for Old School Square by half. I think that the 1 mil is vital to continue, and I'm ready to go to the vote. We've already had a first and a second. So, can we do a roll call? Oh, I apologize, Aaron. I thought you.
Can we get them some better bicycles?
Okay.
We have a golf cart.
I know, but when they have the bicycles, have you seen those bicycles?
I know. Yes, we can. We can talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
Whatever.
Liliana?
Aaron Halliburton,
Yes.
Cole Devitt,
Yes.
Alan Costello,
Yes.
Brian Rosen,
Yes.
Vera Woodson,
Yes.
and Jim Knight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so to the next item. Did you want to introduce this item, sir? Yeah.
From there, we're going to move to item 4B for the DDA office lease renewal.
So this is just a formality, so we're just renewing the lease on our current office, which you all have a copy of the current lease, which we'll just see a 3% increase as we've seen every year so it's a renews for the next 5 years. So this is really just a formality.
When is the actual renewal?
It would be following our recognition, the board's recognition.
Okay,
So
we're
this
about
month,
ready to
yeah.
sign.
Mhm.
Okay.
There were some logistics that they were taking care of that we now are
Okay.
going into effect.
I should ask if you have any comments
we
concerning
love-
the property you live in and work in?
No,
Are you
everyone
happy?
that I know, everyone that comes to our office wants to have our office. So when we, and it's very welcoming. We do see a lot of visitors and people, downtown businesses coming in all the time. So the location's been great. Our landlord is amazing. Local family business owners and residents of our community that have been here forever rehabbed the building. And we have 4 or 5 different neighbors within our own office, which is that building. So it's been a great experience, a great transition from our.
Is it big enough for you?
Yes, right now. Mhm.
Can you grow? Can you grow some?
The
and
space
still?
itself is big. It's got lots of options. So I think for the space that we are leasing, it is it's a great support.
Do you want it, yes or no?
Yes.
There we go.
For me, I think the location is exceptional. And I would ask that if the landlord is interested in ever selling his property, do we have a right of first refusal?
I think we should probably talk about that probably at our budget meeting later.
Will you add that? Will you consider it?
Will I consider it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking me? We can look into that, but as of right now, we just need to renew the lease.
I understand. I just want to make sure that you recognize that we're 100% in support of it. And I think the location, as it's central in the downtown, is perfect. And I'm happy that you have that location.
But as you know, Al, in order to buy a property, you have to have somebody willing to sell you the property. And I don't think there's been any
Well, I don't know. but
overtures
if
from the
that
landlord
should come
to sell.
about,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if it should come about, protecting ourselves from losing the right to rent there is my
Oh,
concern.
no, that's in, well, the lease itself, I think that would be
Well, for 5 years.
protecting.
Yeah.
our lease.
But for 5 years, but then after the 5 years.
Can I provide a wild idea?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I do best. My goal would be for the DDA to actually pick up their offices and move them onto the campus of Old School Square. I know that the school, when you Google it, is temporarily closed, and there's school space that could be turned into office space, and that would save a lot of money. Please, I believe me, I know that I'm stepping on toes, but it's my last meeting, so I'm going to step on toes with full stilettos on. I just think that it's the jewel of the city, it's the center of the city, and there's space there. Other reasons, number one, Suzanne is never going to split an office. You know that, I know that, and Suzanne knows that.
I did split it
You
off.
did, but you will never do it again. We know, okay? And the space, if they add new employees, they're going to be on top of each other. So my thought would be to shorten the lease length to 2 years and then renegotiate. I'm sure that's not viable. I know, I was a landlord, I owned property. I'm like, no, you're going the distance or you're not going to be the person. But anyway.
There is an early termination for 60 days, either party, so. I mean, 6 months, excuse me.
This is the old lease, isn't it?
Am I
You're
looking?
right, it's
It's the same thing. It's mirrored.
Okay.
So
Well,
again,
I
so
just,
it's a 6
yes,
month
but I just
commitment.
want to offer that as an option because that would solve the issue since no one took me up on the fact that we should let FAU lease the school space to do lecture series and hold level 100 courses to educate our citizens that would possibly want college credit. You know, I've had a lot of wild ideas, and Al always, right now, look, see the face? The daggers that are being thrown at me. But I think there's some things that we could do within our own city that would help to benefit all of our constituents and save money as well. I will pause and yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
I think it's an excellent idea, and I wish we had time to discuss it. If there's a 60-day clause,
6 month. There's a 6 month.
6 month.
Yeah.
that's something.
Yeah. So
Vera,
so
I
it kind of meets her
I
2-year
think-
idea. But again, maybe we discuss it more in the future. And again, we'll have a bigger
Yeah, I think
discussion on that for
yeah.
budget
Discussion.
and how are we going to always be part of Old School Square? Are we not always going to be part of Old School Square? You know, don't want to lose our office. And
I
you
think
know,
it's a
the
bigger
rent's
picture,
good rent.
bigger
Landlords are
conversation.
taking good care of us. It's $35 a foot, like gross. It's very, very, very fair. So.
Is
Again,
Mr.
my
Nyquist-
I'm comfortable with
I'm
this. Just
sorry.
letting you know, Chair, and I'm open to look at the 6 month. You know, not explore that, but explore if we do want office in Old
Yeah.
School Square, if that makes sense, and
Or-
able to save $60,000-$70,000. So.
I can't make a
I'll make it.
motion.
Motion to
Because-
approve the lease.
Second.
Okay.
Vera Woodson,
Recuse himself.
Yes.
Brian Rosen,
Yes.
Alan Costello,
Yes.
Cole Davids,
Yes.
Arnelli Barton.
Aye.
And for
I'll
the-
make a note. Jim Knight was receiving a fee on the deal, so I think that's why he left, or he was on the original lease, so maybe that's why he had to recuse himself from this item.
He just left the room.
Okay. All right. I
So
didn't know.
just
I
make
did
note
see
of
that
that.
he was on the original lease, so I just figured that's why he left. I was making the
I'm
note.
certain that is.
And for the records, Jim Knight has left the room before the discussion started.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
like to note that.
All right. Are we
Just
ready
like
to
a
move
belief-
on for Daniel Hartwell?
No, we have 4C, which was added, 4C was added for new business.
Yes.
by
Oh,
Vera
yeah,
Woodson.
that's right. The signs.
Signage.
You all know, and I've spoken before about what after I ranted to Laura during our one-on-one meeting about the signs. She said, "Are you saying sign pollution?" And I said that would have been a great phrase before I went on for 20 minutes. Yes, there is sign pollution within our city. We have signs everywhere. And having been over the special education department at schools in Virginia, it is very unnerving to see all these signs. It's like, I don't know, it's like Vegas in some areas to me. There's a lot of signs. But one of the solutions that I think we were able to dialogue about is that there are a lot of signs that have to do with real estate, sales, sold signs, advertising for real estate agents. And they have stayed up well beyond the sale of a building. And if you really look at it, that is free advertising to the thousands of dollars that our city is giving away to agents that are selling these buildings or who have sold these buildings. Some of the signs are up for 2-3 months and the building has sold and transitioned to someone else. I think that we need to have a cutoff for the transaction for that sign to remain. And if it stays up beyond that certain time, then a fine needs to be levied so that we're making money off of their advertising. So, Quentin, I know you want to stop me.
No, I want you to finish your
Yes, but I think that that is something that should be discussed and looked into because I think it is an added layer of signage that's in our city that doesn't need to be there after the transaction has taken place.
We can have Mr. Orris come up and talk about the city's policy on that, but there is a sign code in the city that addresses that issue of, specifically that addresses real estate signs, temporary signs, and things of that nature. So I don't want to get into what the city's code requires because that's more of a city issue for if it's beyond the date, a code enforcement issue because there is a code for the length of duration of certain signs.
I don't know if I can ask for that, only because even though beyond this board, I will be activated in other ways with a Superwoman cape on to, show up at commission meetings to let them know what's going on as well.
I think as a citizen, you have that right to do that.
Yes.
There's limited resources, as you know, within city government and DDA government. So the manner in which they address that is up to Mr. Moore and his team.
Yes, very well. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I will make myself available to both. Thank you.
Weren't they working on a new code for signage? Did they ever finish that up? Or?
I don't know the answer to that. Okay. All I know is sign codes are very. It takes a lot of time to make sure you get that right. So if they're in the process of doing that, I understand that. It takes some time with a sign code if they're making revisions, but I don't know specifically if they are or not. But there are certain responsibilities and procedures that they have to make sure are followed, so that there's no issues going forward with that.
Is there any other comments on the signage in the city?
It's a lot now. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to address it. It's very sensitive. They spend a lot of money on it, but I feel like some of the signs are bigger than they need to be in certain places, and it's a bit out of place.
The wayfinding is what you're speaking of?
Yeah, wayfinding, and it's signage is a big discussion. Yep. So now I don't know if I can elaborate, but there's signs everywhere.
The private parking lots too. Their signs are brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We need a workshop for this, I think. I
don't know. Well,
wayfinding is a totally separate issue.
But it's all part of signage. You got to kind of look at it all. That's like, because it plays into signs.
I have no comment in this at all, except to say that a lot of them have your name.
Oh.
That's good. I'm very envious that he has so much property to sell.
4x4. That's what you're allowed to put on.
Oh,
that's the largest size you can get.
Is there?
Okay.
Can we just move on because we can't do anything about this, unfortunately.
She just wanted to make a comment. She made her comments.
And she did.
Yep.
Okay. Now 5A.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Daniel?
All right. So Daniel is here to provide the board a recap.
Where's the Beatles outfit?
Hey, everyone.
Where's the
That-
sparkle
that's
and shine?
You know, I was going to wear it today, and I don't know if you know Miss Carrie here, and she's Mrs. Sergeant Pepper.
Last time I saw her, she was in the outfit too.
Right, she was also, and actually, we have a few other members here that were in outfits also. We have a team of members that not only are we in Delray Beach promoting Delray Beach, but we're in other communities all over, not only Florida, but other parts of the United States and other countries that we've actually been to promoting the Beatles on the Beach Festival.
Cool.
Which is a lot of work. But I have something here, and I want to apologize in advance because I might talk funny and I might have a whistle as I'm getting older, and I'll be 65 on my next birthday. So I bit into a vitamin and I broke a tooth off. And so for the first time in my life, I'm getting a implant. And so I might have a whistle here, and I have a flipper in my mouth. Does anyone know what a flipper is? No, it's an old TV show, I know, but
I can understand you clearly. Don't worry.
Okay.
We can
All
all
right.
understand
Good,
you
good,
clearly.
good, good.
And then whistle, actually, people will just think that you're from Texas because I have a
Right,
whistle too.
Right.
Although the flipper has got me scared a little.
And I want to mention Sonny and say my condolences. I was at his home recently, and he was a friend of mine. And he was such a good guy.
He's a sweet guy.
And he gave me some great advice as he promoted some shows in the tennis center. And he had James Brown in the tennis center, which is unbelievable. But he gave me some pointers about dealing with the city and putting on events and things like that. And I trust you all read my letters that I sent to you and know the reasons why I could not attend the last meetings. Everyone did read them. That's great. And first of all, I want to say I have gratitude and thanks to those who wanted to share their experience about Delray's one and only International Beatles Music Festival, Beatles on the Beach. Thank you for being here and sharing it, which is great to hear from real estate people and people who lived here and why it's an important event in the city. And I have gratitude that you're all here too, working on this. As Vera had said, you're volunteers, and it's really a lot of dedication. I enjoyed hearing about staycations and people interested in moving to Delray, and I know other real estate agents actually bring up Beatles on the Beach, and they say, hey, we have a great Beatles festival here, and a lot of people actually respond to that, which is great. At one of the last meetings, I heard Big Al say, Daniel Hartwell is a damn good promoter. This was during the April DDA meeting, and I want to thank you for that acknowledgement, and it really touched my heart. I work my butt off at this event and other events to bring great talent to our stages. It's my passion to put smiles on people's faces and music in their ears. Again, I will turn 65 on my next birthday, and I've been doing this now for 45 years, since I've been 20 years old. I've only been in the music business my entire life and have promoted over 5,000 events, concerts, and festivals, just so you know. So I don't think some of you knew that. I do want to acknowledge my team with Kerry here, of course, Scott, Rebecca, others who are on the payroll who work hard to make this love of live music happen year after year. You may have seen Kerry, Scott, and many others here dressed as Sergeant Pepper promoting these events, again, everywhere in other parts of the world, and we say, come to Delray Beach. All you need is love and a hotel room. So we try to push that, that's for sure. You may also have seen us in parades and events that happen in town. We are here to support Team Delray, we really are. We're in everything that we possibly can get into to help promote Delray Beach. Thank you to Laura Simon and team who work tirelessly to make Delray Beach a better place to live and do business every day. I call Laura Wonder Woman, as I've never seen someone work this hard for the community. I've never seen anyone who actually is, shows up at 7 in the morning, is there at midnight. And she doesn't have to. I did want to educate you quickly on some of the things you may not know about the live music industry if you're not into it. First of all, this is a passion for me. I'm not Live Nation. If Live Nation took over here, they would mothball it like they have others. They don't need it. They cannot make money here, okay? They don't have VIP parking revenue and all the food and beverages sold like they do at their own venues that they have. They skip over Delray Beach, as do many others. They're only passionate about making money, period. And they cannot make the money here. They don't have a passion for Delray Beach as we do. I had a vision, and I executed on it. My vision is to have people celebrating the power of music in all the venues in downtown Delray Beach and growing this to its full potential as the city itself grows, as Brian mentioned. Highlighting all of our downtown businesses, which has been very important to us, highlighting all of our downtown businesses. Some people don't like an innovator. It's true, until the innovation breaks through. And it's always the public that gets on board first and spreads the word. And that's what it takes. And that is what has happened with this event. And it takes hard work. We put in a lot of hard work for this. Thousands of hours, thousands. Talking about booking talent. Booking talent moves fast if you don't know about this. And it takes hours of getting it done with many agents, managers, and artists that I've gone after. Including this past year, I've gone after Earth, Wind, and Fire, Daryl Hall of John & Oates, Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin fame, and others. At times, if we have to wait for board approval, and I want to bring this up, then city approval, then approval of a contract, it's really over by then for us to get some bigger national acts. I respectfully ask you to meet with me at some point and workshop this soon, another workshop as someone said, right? So that we can get our hands on more national talent for Delray Beach before they take offers elsewhere. Again, they move fast, they come in. There was a recent time when I called Laura and I said, hey, we can get this band, and she said it's going to be really hard because during that time they'll still be digging up because they just took out the Christmas tree and we have to get permits. And I said, they want an answer now, otherwise it's going somewhere else. And this happens on a daily basis. It's a catch-22 here. If you make an offer to an artist, it's a binding contract. I don't know if you know that. You're securing the date. They cannot book it elsewhere once accepted. Then you're on the hook for the payment whether you make it happen or not. Kind of like booking a seat on an airplane. If you don't show up, you lost your money. If you cannot get a permit because of red tape or even if it rains, you're out of the money. You're just out. I cannot make an offer to these artists until we get a secure date and contract with the city, and it's like a moving target at times. I really want to bring that up. It's very important. I politely suggest, again, that at some point we get together and make this more of a streamlined process so that we can get more national acts here year-round. Old School Square should and can run 24/7, 365 with higher caliber acts. Delray Beach deserves this. As I have mentioned in my letters to you, the DDA, I feel, is underfunded for Old School Square. And I heard it brought up today, too. And we, in my opinion, should be pushing for more money to get better equipment so that larger events happen without a hitch. Once again, thank you for all you do, as I know you are not getting paid to be on this board, and it takes time and effort. We are in the same boat. We are. We all have a passion for helping make Delray Beach a great place to live, love, and work. This is all respectfully submitted to you all. And Beatles on the Beach and the entertainment scene, honestly, is in your hands. It's in your hands for our people. It's really in your hands. So with that, if you have any questions for me, I'd love to hear them. And if you don't, that's cool too. But know that we work as hard as we possibly can and we have a passion for it.
Is this the budget recap for the Beatles on the Beach, or is that another time? Like,
No, well, I mean,
that's really,
I think that's where you think the point of it was.
You could soften it first.
I'll soften it first if you
Sure.
want.
Well, I just want to I'll tee this up too, because we, partnered. We had an agreement to do and help support and partner part of the Old School Square area with the Beatles on the Beach event, as it's been happening over the past many years, I think, since 2019 was the first one.
2019, then it came back. I actually met with Terrence Moore and Assistant City Manager Jeff here. And they wanted to bring it back after COVID, after COVID happened,
Right.
and we lost a ton of money during then. Met with them and worked it out with them, and they brought it back
Great.
again. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that you say that this is in our hands. Yes, to a certain extent, but it's also in your hands.
Oh,
and
the work is, yes.
The work is in your hands, but also the transparency with the numbers that are provided.
Absolutely.
Because going forward, when we have this rubric, we need everyone to come in prepared to provide the transparency of our input, needs, and what is going to go into the contractual agreement. So with that being said, I think Brian would like to extend a discussion regarding the budget. I already know that you've taken care of all of this and a check is going to be delivered and we're all going to be in good standing at the conclusion of this meeting. So I have nothing further to say except thank you.
You're welcome. And if I can respond to that, I didn't receive an invoice till last week, and as soon as Laura gave me the invoice, I paid the invoice that moment. And that's what I do all the time. So there's
And thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That should shorten our discussion.
Thank you.
Does that handle your question?
Somewhat. Is this the most up-to-date numbers? It's the one that you gave us before for again, I wanted to see a budget before the event. It was so fast, you had to do it. The event's done. It's now June. I've gotten these, but I just want to make sure, are these the most accurate numbers, or do you have, I mean, they don't have the 12,000 in it. You may want to show that.
Absolutely, they're the most accurate numbers. However, you had actually pointed out.
It's updated since.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't include that. But did you get any sponsorship money?
There are some things on there that I didn't put on, as in when you point out they made $25,000. I mean, if I'm going to put in how much money it costs for costumes, traveling, my people that I have to pay all the time, I mean, we make about 11 cents an hour. We really do.
Did you get any sponsorships as far as
I got a
revenue?
little bit of sponsorship too, but we put it in the agreement that the sponsorship they get is on their own, and the sponsorship on my side is what I get, correct?
But I think as part of being partners and transparent, you should show your actual numbers of the event if you want us to be your partner.
Which I didn't ask them for their sponsorship either.
We're not co-partners on this event? I mean, we lost $20,000, and I'm hearing of $5,000 sponsorships here and there, and it's just like those aren't in the numbers, and I'm not feeling like as a partner, we're really, there's a fiduciary responsibility in the agreement to show the true expenses and to show the true revenues.
If you want to see that and you want it in another contract that we should be partners on anything sponsorship-wise, I'm okay with moving forward with that, absolutely.
So is this just willy-nilly costs and revenues? You just kind of choose which ones you're going to pop in here? I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Well,
because
I think that what Daniel's misunderstanding is that in your revenue section on your contract, you didn't outline what the sponsorship revenue was. So I think that was missing off of this budget that you provided.
Again, on our contract, it basically said that you're going to keep anything of your sponsorship revenue, and we would do that, and you didn't include yours, and I didn't include mine. Yes, I do get some sponsorship. It's about this big. As a matter of fact, even last meeting here, I heard Laura actually mention how difficult it is to get sponsors. Did she not?
Yeah, and now I feel like we're competing for them.
Right. You're certainly not competing
it's
for
not
them
an
here.
easy process but sponsorship, if it's cutting off, I mean, if he's getting the sponsors for the
I just want to see, I mean, honestly, when it comes to reporting numbers to an event, and we're going to be, I can read the contract, these co-partners, I want to see all the gross revenues, and I want to see all the expenses, and I want to know
Right.
where everyone is. That's part of, we are working with tax dollars. We have a fiduciary responsibility to show who we're working with and how much money they're making. If not, again, I want to see the Beatles happen, but maybe it's not us helping fund it, and you need to find those funds from other people that want to support the event. I'm for the event. I'm not for the non-transparency and revenues coming in on the event. This is our, I mean, somehow $5,000 of expenses got updated and removed from our original numbers, right? Which is fine. I mean,
It's a moving target here.
it's not a moving target. This money's spent and this money's been received. It happened in March and it's June.
I think one of the things that we need to probably look at is our commitment was for $40,000, I believe it was, right?
Correct.
Nothing more, nothing less. Because I always think of how I do business with folks the same way I would do with my friends and family, okay? We said this is the number, that's the number. The contract says you get your sponsorships, I get my sponsorships. All of that was written, all of that was signed. So to go back and rehash how much you made versus how much you made, and that wasn't in the discussion for this contract, that's fine. But for the next contract,
Well, it says
that's
we can
when-
get sponsorship money in the contract. It doesn't really say that he can.
but
I
why
mean, it
would,
doesn't
why
say
would
he
you?
can.
But why would you shackle him for not get sponsorship
He
for
should
his
generate the
business?
sponsorships for the DDA that's helping support and spend $52,000 for the event.
If,
That's
listen,
the city
listen,
taxpayer dollars.
if
That's a partner.
Okay,
Guys.
so listen, if I have a roommate, okay, I'm gonna make this
you-
simple. I
Vera,
like to make it simple.
Vera, no, I'm going to make it more simple. Quentin, in our agreement, was there any responsibility for
Sharing.
sharing in revenue other than what we specifically outlined, the $40,000 that we were responsible for?
No.
It's
There-
not. So
I have it right here.
if
Go
there's
ahead, go ahead. You have it. I don't have it.
So we had a $4, the ticket revenue, which we have that, as far as a revenue. Concession revenue came to the DDA. We did receive donations, at $2,000 as well. So that any donations that came through the museum artwork, that did come to us as well. And then the $12,000 reimbursement from, so with the $40,000 spent, with the revenues coming in, it's an $18,000 spend.
If I
and,
may
and this was
respond-
not was not an equal partnership. It was a stated partnership in the agreement as to what we would invest and to how we would collect, and that's it.
That was it.
If we want in the future to extend the agreement
Correct.
to be more specific to what you want, that's certainly the conversation for next time. But in
I'll-
this time, I'm happy that you made. I would wish that you made a bundle on this. What you performed and what you put together was pretty much top notch. I mean, that expanding venues outside the old school square was gifted and beautiful, and gifted is the best word I can think. I really was excited, and I'm still excited. And the thought that we would count every single dime you made was not the purpose of our arrangement. It was to make sure and facilitate that you could perform and that we helped you. And in that respect, thank
Mission
you for your
accomplished.
payment.
That's
And
right.
thank you for, when you got the invoice, thank you for making good on it. And in the future, if we want to negotiate some other stuff, the board can sit down with you and do that.
So
Thank you.
I would
thank
like
you.
the lawyer to speak about the contract for a moment because I think you're.
Can I respond to what she said too? Also, really
Hold on.
quickly?
Let Quentin
Hold on.
do this because I think
So
this will
I
help.
think everybody's saying the same thing, just a little bit differently. The contract did not call for certain things that Brian's asking for, and I think he knows that. I think one of his issues is we didn't have enough time in order to fully negotiate those terms to put them in there. The terms that you all set on the dais that day are in the contract. The overage of the $40,000, that invoice was sent and it was paid. So I think beyond that, I think Brian has good points on, transparency on information and the financial aspect of it. If that's what the board wishes to require in order to make that arrangement, then that's what the board requires. We had a discussion following the meeting when we were drafting up the agreement, and I said something to the extent of, go back and watch the tape. That's what the board agreed to. So that's why it was in there that way. If Mr. Hartwell had his way, it would have said something a little bit different. And I think you probably remember that discussion. It wasn't an antagonistic discussion, but I think he's doing the best he can on that front as far as some of the information. But some of the information we didn't request from him. So it's not.
And in the future, we can.
If he wants to provide that. If not, then the board may choose not to provide the funds that the board provided this time.
And that's what I think is the ultimate concern, is that are we overextending ourselves if there's money that's being made on the back end that maybe our investment could be lessened by the amount of money that's coming in from sponsorships. But because a lot of times the sponsorships don't come until after the contract is signed, it does become somewhat of a moving target, as Mr. Hartwell has stated. So I think Quentin is in a good place with Laura to be the person who sits down and redefines what it is based on all of our comments, so that moving forward that the entire contract has those in there.
So Brian's making a face.
I'm just looking at the contract. I just pulled it up.
But one of the things that he did say that probably would be helpful next time, and this is to you, is that we get some of this information with a little more lead time, so that any questions the board, and I know the business sharing, because you stated that the last, when this came up, how, you have to strike while the iron's hot, so to speak. But certain aspects of that can be made a little bit further in advance.
Last thing, we did have a gentleman that spoke earlier. I just want to make sure that you will be addressing those issues with Laura and Quentin regarding the trademark infringement possibilities, so that we cover ourselves and the city and are not part and parcel to a lawsuit moving forward.
And we have, we can discuss it again. We do have in the appropriate indemnifications in the agreement, which the board was one of the board's comments, and we made sure that was placed in there. It's very long and legalistic, but essentially, if he impedes on someone's trademark, then he's responsible for defending and paying for the lawsuit and any outcomes of that lawsuit.
So with that, and everybody likes what he brings to the table.
Yes.
So with that, he says he makes hardly a little bit of money on all these gigs. So how do we know he's got the money to pay that fine if we do get it, or that we break that law or whatever, it's the trademark rule?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
I owned a very large entertainment company.
Yeah,
in
just
New
say
England
you have
for
the
many
money. You don't have
years.
the money. Just show it.
And I sold it to the third largest producer promoter in the world at the time.
I don't know what that means.
Maybe a bond. I don't
You
know.
But I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean, the attorney who spoke at the beginning sent me emails shortly after Beatles on the Beach Festival, letting me know he was interested in putting on his own Beatles event, and asked me for some of my contacts. Okay? That's what he asked me for, and I have that in an email.
I'm just asking questions based on what people are asking me.
As
so.
you heard, he suggested I bring Beatles on the Beach out of Delray Beach and give it to another community so that they may benefit from this festival. Imagine, no pun intended, so that they may benefit from this festival. I have certainly been offered by other cities to bring this festival to their city, and I have said no. I have a passion for Delray Beach, and you all know it.
Understood.
You all know it.
I'm just doing the legalities of it. Clinton?
There's also an insurance provision that requires him to provide that insurance, so that would cover the indemnity in most reasonable circumstances. Obviously, you can't project for every single event, but what's legally appropriate was provided for in the agreement.
So we're exempt.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but
we're protected 100%.
Yeah. When you say 100%, I can't legally say 100%, but to your point, there's protection provided for in the agreement that's reasonable.
Mr. Chair.
And I want to say, at 45 years of doing this and having tribute bands all the time, whether we have a Bon Jovi band or the Dave Matthews tribute band there, okay, on and on and on. Hundreds of thousands of tribute bands, tribute festivals. I've been to Beatles festivals all over the world, okay? And actually, a point that Laura had made, the Art Museum, each year, I work with Maruska here, and I set her up with my contacts, who is Ringo Starr's right-hand man, to bring in artwork from Ringo Starr, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison. I don't benefit from it. I make sure that all the proceeds go to the Art Museum. Isn't that correct? And so I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that.
Do we pay you $5,000 a month for stuff?
I would think that you pay me for my services, yes. You pay me to bring in work, and I can go through the list. I know that I've seen the emails and what you have said about me, and I actually take offense to it.
I'm just
of you saying it's not worth it to have Beatles on the beach, and it's not worth it to do this, and I'm actually offended.
I think we should have Beatles on the beach. I don't think we should take the hit financially to host that necessarily. That's the difference, really.
So just to wrap this one up,
and I'm happy
Mr.
to help.
Chair.
I'm happy to help fund, but I don't want to eat it to host the event.
Right,
as a
and
DDA. I don't
and
think
to-
that's appropriate for our taxpayers.
To Brian's point, at this point, the board hasn't eaten anything because the agreement has been complied
we
with.
lost $18,000 to get 2,000 people there, and I heard the Muscle on the Beach got 5,000 people there based on the city commission meeting. So it's like we're getting twice as many people. I'm just looking at
We lost 18,000. We only spent 40,000. I'm not sure what you mean.
I don't know. I'm just looking at our
revenue came in.
Oh, you're talking about the revenue.
Total was 18,000.
I'm just looking. I mean,
Net.
last report showed up. It said yellow. It was like overall total was like
Was it final?
positive 35, but that was wrong.
Okay.
So now we got the new one. It's negative $18,000 of taxpayer dollars to host the event. Which again, I think it's a great event. If we're quote unquote partners with you on this event, I'd like to be transparent on how much we're spending, which we're always going to be with the taxpayer money, and I'd like to be transparent with my partner, or I'd like someone to take the whole event over and make all the money.
So also, just so I
I'd
can
love to
say,
respond to this. I really
Daniel,
would.
just a second, please. So just for everyone that's watching or for everyone that's listening, and for the board's perspective, the total amount of producing this event was $280,000. So for the DDA's investment or the Old School Square investment of $18,000 for a $250,000 plus event is significant. So
2,000 people went to the event.
but the impact for the branding and all of that is around it is still significant.
Yeah, I think we could do $200,000 events that could generate more than 2,000 people.
Please do.
My hope.
Please give it that effort. It's not easy to respond to the difference between a car show and this. So the cars themselves are the entertainment. Is that correct? Yes. You're involved in the car show, yes?
No, I just look at how many people come to them.
Okay, you're not involved at all. Okay.
No.
So the car show, and I know both of the car shows that come in that are great. Yeah. And I know that car shows here, people pay. This is the entertainment. The entertainment pays anywhere from $100 to over $1,000 to show their car. The difference between that and a concert is I have to pay the entertainment. Imagine a band coming in saying, "Hey, we'll pay you $1,000 if we can play on your stage." We take them all day. That's what the car show does, and they generate their own money doing that. That's what they do. I wish I had that. I would make Beatles.
I just use it as an example because they were on the last commission meeting and they said they generated 5,000 people based on their numbers. So I'm just looking at the numbers and the numbers.
That's
and the
great.
cost.
Is there Daniel? Daniel?
Did they have tickets so that they could
Daniel?
count them? Yes.
You hear me?
I'll stop.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Do you have any further recap?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Daniel, my only comment would be, how do we get it back up to the 3,600 people or whatever else that happened last year? Was there something that changed it to where we had significant less number of people here? Was it weather, weekend? What was it that you think that caused that?
Thank you for asking, Jim. And I did put it in one of the letters to you. It took a longer time this time to get things up and running. When we had Cheap Trick the time before, again, Cheap Trick alone during that one cost me over $100,000 to bring in. Over $100,000.
I'm not talking about the expense. I'm just talking about people.
But it's the planning properly and being able to get approved sooner rather than later. Again, that catch-22 with artists and putting artists in venues, they go away. So when I got to it, we really only had 90 days really to promote this event. We only had 90 days compared to 6 months the time before when I finally get approved then.
So how do we fix that?
I would love to get approved a year in advance.
How do we fix that? Can we start earlier? Can we get this process earlier?
That would be great. And
The
I
end
think it's
result
with-
was perhaps not as good as last time, and we'll work on that. Let's start earlier. Let's get the contracts and agreements up so we're all happy. Let's make sure you make a lot of money. Let's make sure we spend as little as possible to get the influx of people and money into the city. And let's take this as a real positive thing, and because it sounds a little negative, and I don't think it was negative at all.
Chairman, would you like to know if we are partnering with another organization? Would you like to know how much money they're making on the specific project?
The definition of partnering is different with every agreement.
This was
was
specifically
not a 50-50
It wasn't a
partnership.
50-50
We
partner.
didn't do
I'm
the
just
pro-
talking about the DDA
We didn't
partnering
do
with
the
any
promotion.
organization.
We
Any
didn't-
non-for-profit, I'm going to ask them to show me their
We
numbers.
did not do the promotion. He did the promotion. We made an agreement.
But
we have certain
But should,
requirements.
I'm not asking, I'm just asking in the future,
Well, in the future,
for
we can
taxpayer dollars,
renegotiate.
if you're using taxpayer dollars to do something and you're working with someone, should you not ask them to be transparent with how much money they're making and what they're doing?
Depending-
Especially if you're losing a lot of money.
Depends on the agreement and how we structured it.
I think
I'm
I
saying
think
in
we're
the future,
we're-
I'd like to
I
make
think
a
we're playing a
consensus
little
vote
loose
that
with
we
terms.
understand that.
We're
Can we
playing
do
a-
that?
Fine with that.
All
We're
right,
playing a
can-
little loose with terms only in that we agreed to pay $40,000 toward the event. The revenue that was generated brought that number down to 18. So we were being good stewards of the resources because we were able to recoup a lot of the money that we were outlaying for the event. I understand that we want to strategize and really work on a contract going forward, and you need more runway lead time in order to help promote it so that it gets back up to what Jim is requesting in terms of numbers. I think we can settle this now and say that in the future, starting today, and maybe with our budget meeting that we have scheduled at the end of the month, that this discussion needs to be had to shape how we look at contracts going forward with the new rubric that's being put in order, so that we can all feel that we are doing what's best for the stewardship of the resources that our taxpayers provide.
While delivering an excellent.
Can I make a motion,
I
Chair? May I
appreciate
make a
that.
motion
In
that
delivering
in
to
the future, we please, with any of our partnerships,
100%.
they have to be fully transparent with their numbers. If they want to rent the venue, they can do whatever they want. If they're asking for fees from us to be waived, non-for-profits
Right.
or for-profits, they need to be 100% transparent on all the revenue and expenses for the events with
And that
us.
was indeed submitted to Laura by myself
what
for
I
sure.
thought it was, and apparently it's not,
Looking
which
for
is
a
not.
recap of the event that fully discloses all of the revenue
Right,
and
based
everything.
on
That
I'll
was
watch the other
that was
meeting.
part of it. Yes.
Event rubric, right?
Yes, it was part of the rubric, so it's already in there, but once we see the new rubric outline,
Right.
then we can have a discussion about what needs to be put in there to get
Right,
to the
we'll
point
have
of
that.
what Brian is asking for.
I made a
What
motion.
what I do not want to do is attack someone who's our future partner. I want to make sure that he feels that Delray wants this event, will continue to support the event in the best way we know how, to drive revenue and to bring visitors to our city in the utmost respectable manner. So that's what I'd like to see. So I want to thank you, Mr. Hartwell, for all that you've done and your crew, whether you wear your uniform today or not. We appreciate you and what you have done to make sure that we are a city that is still a beacon of light for all the other cities to follow. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think I made a motion, Chair.
You can make a motion.
He
Can I
did
get a
make a motion.
second?
Second.
You have any more discussion, or you all want to vote on it?
Yeah, I want to have more discussion.
Okay.
I think that each individual agreement is as we create them. I don't think that every agreement is going to be 100% 50-50 partnership where we all have to be as transparent as you'd like if that's not how the agreement reads. If that's the way we want to do the agreement, then fine.
I think you don't understand me. Anyone can rent the venue
Can you
and do
come
whatever
up-
they want. Anyone can rent the venue and do whatever they want to do. If they're asking for taxpayer dollars,
Yes.
our dollars, then they have to be transparent with us on all the revenues and
Only
expenses.
as far as the agreement
No,
states.
every time they touch taxpayer dollars, I want to be very clear on my motion because it's very
we
important.
understand. Going forward, we need to be more
Right,
specific
that's
in our
it.
agreements.
That's my
No
motion.
specific in the agreement, not guaranteeing 100% transparency. It's up to the
100%
agreement.
transparency
the re-
on any time taxpayer
Taxpayers'
dollar
dollars.
Chairman, the recap request that I put forward was for transparency. Every single person that we give $1 of taxpayer funded money to should be held accountable to transparency, so that if we are held under the light, that it is always there for anyone to see, because that is how this city has been in situations that we needed to step in to stop. And it could have been
All I'm trying
stopped
to do-
earlier.
All I'm suggesting is that each agreement is individual, and as such.
But all should require transparency.
If they take
If they
taxpayer
take
dollars.
taxpayer
That's
dollars.
it. Don't take our money. Do whatever you want to do. Make
Yes.
as much money as you want to
If
make.
you want to
You're
borrow,
better
if you
off
want to
getting
rent the gym,
sponsorships.
if you want to rent the gym, that's fine. But if you ask for a dime from us, we need a full recap and accounting of what it is, the revenue
Because
that
maybe
is
people
coming
won't ask
in.
for the money, but they still want to do the project, and
I
it'll actually work
understand what
better.
you're all asking for, and
Because maybe-
although it's not, look, all I'm saying is I've entered into many agreements that were not exactly 50-50.
We're not looking for any money. I don't need $1 back.
If I run an event after I leave here, which I plan to do, if I run an event and I get full sponsorship, but know that the DDA has money that can support the event also, so now I'm double dipping because I can afford the event, but I'm just going to come and get this money just because it's sitting there laying on the table, which is what we've had groups do in this city before. So to eliminate the opportunity and the option for anyone to double dip when they can afford an event to come and ask for taxpayer dollars, it is in our best interest as good stewards of the resources to require that they are transparent with a recap of the event, including all funding sources. And that needs to be written in our recap request.
I'm sorry, I don't support that. But
Well, can I get a vote?
If I can add to that, being in the entertainment business myself, if a Live Nation was to come in.
Understand there's a motion on the floor. One moment, please,
Daniel,
and then you can
Daniel,
talk about Live
let's-
Nation.
yeah,
I'm familiar with
gonna
Live Nation.
Let's call for a vote,
Yeah.
please.
Let's do your thing.
Yeah.
Just because we're going just in it after a time.
Yeah. The motion is for any time a grant or DDA money in a partnership is provided to an organization, that they should recap and provide to us on the front end the budget as discussed, but even more importantly, on the back end, showing us all revenues and expenses related to that event, so that we actually understand what's going on in the future. If we want to do other events, it helps us be able to do those events.
I can't do it in advance.
I'm not. This is just. This is not for
This
you.
is this is
for
our
everything.
operation. This is our operational requirement, and I second that motion.
But I can't do it in advance. if
Can
you
I get a roll
understand.
call,
I
please?
can't tell you how many tickets or how much.
No.
You don't have
the
to.
recap part.
How much
You-
sponsorship
it's
I'm
called
going to get in advance?
it's called a projection, sir. It's called a projection.
All right, we
You
got a
have an
motion on the
outline from a previous event that you can utilize to project. Then when the end of the event, we expect a recap of the actual accounting. That is how businesses run. You do a projection to say this is what the potential is, and then after the event is over, you do a recap. I had to do that at Nordstrom for every event every weekend, and to show what it is that is being spent, how much is being generated, how much is the return on the investment per head, per person, per time, per hour. So it is able to be done. So as a city representative at advisory board, we are advising the commission to hold these folks accountable to the taxpayer dollars. That's all. That's what it comes down to. And that's not to slight you. This is for everyone. Everyone, to make sure that we are doing what is in the best interest of our taxpayers.
We have
And
a
once I'm off
motion.
this board, I'm one of them. So I will be
We have
like
a motion
dog
and a
on.
second.
Yes, we do.
Take a vote.
Jim Knight,
Yes.
Vera Woodson,
Yes.
Brian Rosen,
Yes.
Alan Costello,
No.
Cole David,
Yes.
Arden Halliburton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
So can I still discuss something with
Yeah,
you?
you can
Is
say
that
They're just
okay for
talking
you?
about, what they're talking about is at the end of it, they
Well-
require that you be 100%
That's okay.
transparent.
Is there,
not
is
in the
there,
beginning.
Mr. Chair?
What, beg your pardon?
It's 2:00.
Yeah.
So not only me, but anyone has to report every single bit of
If they take our
sponsorship.
dollars, yes.
Every single bit of sponsorship that comes in, whether it's for
If
something.
they're asking for
If they're,
money from
if
us.
we're partnering
If
with
they're not
them or
asking
getting
for
a
money.
grant.
And that's the same way on your side too.
Yeah.
Where
We're-
you'll
everything's
know, I'll
transparent.
know how much sponsorship you have, and you'll know.
Yeah,
how
you
much
can see it.
sponsorship
It's in
I
every
have.
public meeting here every month.
Okay, great. No, I'm okay with that. Just so you know, promoters mainly, even Laura, basically takes sponsorship for the entire year for each event, and she puts it in each and every Beatles on the Beach email, each and every Bon Jovi email, each and everything, and they spread it across. So there's sponsorship for all of it, and it's an umbrella.
I lost you.
It's okay.
Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Don't worry about it now.
Okay.
Just enjoy
All right.
it.
It's
We'll
definitely not
start
enough.
early so we won't get behind.
I appreciate you all for your volunteer service, and thank you, Vera.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Quentin,
Yes, sir.
quick question. Does the insurance cover trademark theft?
Yeah, there's a separate clause for specifically indemnification for intellectual property. So there's a general indemnification, and then there's a intellectual property indemnification.
Okay, and the other question was, I didn't know we paid him $5,000 a month. Is there a way of justifying, like, can
That's
we
all.
see-
That's I'm not aware of that, but that will be a separate discussion than Beatles
can
on the
give you
beach.
Yeah, we need to see that rundown, like
Yeah.
contracts and everything. On
And basically, like, my comment with that is generally, again, I did create a music festival in Okeechobee, Florida. It's Florida's largest music festival. It's crazy. It's hard. It's a tough business. I give it to you for being in that business. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. You need budgets. You need. What was your question? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Well, let's go. Can we just let?
Let's
I
just
can
go
talk
move
on that.
on.
I can talk on that.
Oh, the 5,000 a month. So generally, this is the thing, and you can look this up. A booking
Okay.
fee is 5 to 10% of what per the market, of what the bands are being booked.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's in charge of booking, these, and I can tell you again, Marjorie Waldo at the Arts Garage books cover bands, and we can use her probably at no cost or minimal cost, whatever it is. Just saying, they book the same bands, but it's usually 5 to 10% of the cost. So if someone's getting $5,000 a month, they should be generating $600,000, $500,000 a year of acts. It's just like you don't normally pay more than 5 or 10% for booking fees, even for restaurants and
I
other
cannot
things.
respond to this? Okay, because he seems to think I don't do any work.
No, I
work
understand.
my ass off at this.
I'm not saying that. We just need to know about it
Yeah.
as a board. And
It's
again,
not
it just
directed. It's not directed at
And the
you.
Okeechobee
Yeah.
Festival is gone for 2 years now?
It's-
Because of what?
it's back
Okay.
because Live Nation.
Right.
Can we move on to
Yes, we
5B,
can.
please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So let's just get through the minutes. We need a minutes approval from May. Is there any changes or concerns on the minutes? This is
So
done.
moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
All opposed? We move on to 5C.
Right, so 5C is our financials. For April's financial monthly report in here for both the DDA as well as for Old School Square, both budgets are in here. And if their numbers are on I can go through the memo if you'd like me to on each numbers. We've got the revenue, or almost all of our DDA tax dollars are in. Other revenues, which is our sponsorship and miscellaneous income, which that equates to our vendor fees, or event program fees, such as Savor the Avenue, which that revenue is from our restaurants participants mostly. And so we are at $1,828,672 as far as total revenues for DDA. And then in our expenses, we're running at close to, as of April, at the 50% margin, 56% margin, primarily in our marketing and programs. It's under economic vitality this time. Savor the Avenue expenses are highlighted in April, as well as our auditing fees, everything else in our administrative that are equated there as well. So looking for DDA, total expenses at $1,030,710. Old School Square revenues and income totaling on our income at $631,330, which includes the city funding, donations from cash donations that are coming in, our sponsorship, venue rentals, program income, and the museum store revenue. Operationally are under expenses, operations of the facility, marketing, and of the actual events themselves are at $696,990,000. As it relates to, as far as the costs for, and we can, at our budget meeting, which we will prepare detailed reports for you for our June 24th budget meeting, which is now officially happening. We'll go through those detail expenses as it relates to both DDA and Old School Square, so we can plan and strategize for the coming year as it relates to all services, cost details, and which I can provide to you hopefully by early next week, so we can have some time to go through that. But I'll take questions if you have for April.
Don't forget to send out the notification on the budget
I will,
meeting.
yes.
How we do with the CRA money for Old School Square?
That's not reflected in our budget, so there
But
the
you're in talks with them
500,000.
and working on how it's going to be placed and distributed. And
We haven't set an official meeting yet. We're working closely with Renee, Jeff, and the city team to get together to start planning how that money is short-term and long-term invested. They are funding, the city's funding right now currently the resodding of the front museum lawn. So that's actually happening this week.
With that in mind,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
with that CRA money in mind, will any of that, or can any of that be used for that, I forget his name, Kent, what he suggested about the art museum spilling out onto the walkway?
Well, I think the one suggestion, because the 500 is for the grounds.
Strictly the actual grass and concrete?
Well, I mean, it's a design, a redesign, an
isn't
implementation of whatever
Wouldn't
the
that be part
pieces
of the
the master
grounds?
plan.
That's why I was asking.
No, that's more of an once the grounds are done, creating that, if we can create that
Okay.
space on the museum lawn, and that's something that we've suggested as part of plaza type of, but that's a different discussion than our financials,
All
which
right, well, it's
we
not
can
gonna be
address
part of
later
that.
in our meeting. So it's not part of our budget though. So
Okay.
or April financials rather. Trying to stay on topic.
Does anyone have any questions about the budget that we won't handle at the 24th
Very
meeting?
hard.
This is just for the April 2025 financials.
so.
Yeah.
Brian?
We'll talk it in the budget. I just always look for the stuff and I think it's being fixed, but when I see things like we're 120% over, our budget for events and activations at Old School Square, I just make sure everyone sees that,
Yep.
make a note.
And just so you know, and I didn't as part of the April, but I shared with everyone that our amended budget that we amended last in May 19th is not reflected in the April financials, but will be as we go into. So then you can see the percentages will adjust based on how we amended the budget.
Yeah, again, just like everyone know where
Move
we're
to
at on the
approve.
dough, yeah.
Move
And
to
that's a
approve.
that's a
Second.
$200,000
I got one question.
item.
Aaron?
I got one question. Just, I was new to the $60,000 a year. I didn't know he was getting. That's paid for by the DDA.
Under the Old School Square activation budget.
Was that with the taxpayers' money, or is that under?
That's Old School Square. It's like a staff, or it's not staff, but it's contract for or employee services that we are working on recruiting talent, sourcing talent.
Got it. I understand.
Yeah, so it's talent. It's not on. But it's a part of booking, activating anything that we're doing as far as entertainment out on the grounds.
So my question is, My question is, if Brian sat there and said we can do it for this small percentage, right? Know what you said?
We've been working, and
yeah.
I know Brian has suggestions, and we've.
Yeah. I just saw it as a lot of money, at the end of the day, because I'm looking at it as we get $800,000 to program Old School Squares. That's, basically 10% of the budget going to him for, Beatles on the Beach and his, booking the cover bands, which again, I think we could do better on the bands in general. We can talk about that another time.
Can we address that? Like look into that one of these meetings?
Yeah, we could talk about it in more depth. I would love
The
to talk
workshop.
about it more in depth
Yeah.
at our workshop in June or at the end of the month, and just clearly share with you what we work, how we work, what we're doing, and what the goal was is how we activate this space, how we look for entertainment, the amount of work. I know the time that I'm putting into it, as well, and working with.
I'm not
whether
denying anything that you're doing. I'm just
No,
questioning.
and
That seems like a lot of money for.
And it's not comparatively to what we were looking. We jumped into this 2 years ago and did outreach of what we were looking for.
Yep.
And actually, it's in line. based on how we were going to get the talent, what we're doing to get the talent, sourcing, making sure it's actually going to bring a crowd, where they're playing, radiuses, where they played before, are they viable when they show up, what's their backline,
But there's,
how much production they need, there's a lot of services that are lifted out of our responsibility that are actually taken care of by someone else that understands the industry, and bringing that in-house would have to add a whole nother person with benefits and all that. I mean, just
I'd
having
bring
an
it out of
in-house
house maybe, and we can talk about that at the budget meeting, like figuring out a way to make it more sustainable.
Or just look at what were the services and read, just formalizing actually, scopes and responsibilities in a different way. And it's something we, just based on financials and what we're doing, we have to make adjustments. And I think that's something we're going to do.
Brian, I'm not sure you're old enough to know what an outhouse is.
I'm familiar with them.
So Jim made the motion and Cole seconded, just for Mr. Chairman.
What was the motion?
No, wait for her to say.
The budget?
It has been motioned, has been seconded?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Phew. Okay, now for the fun stuff.
5D.
Does anybody need a break?
Yeah.
Are we ready for the parking management update?
I said now about the fun stuff, and then I
Parking management update?
I think Brian already discussed that.
Did I discuss parking? All I want to do is, I think it makes sense if we absorb it. I sound like a broken record, but again, they're having trouble meeting. It slows down the development process. I'd hate to see ourselves get bumped, and I'd rather just, incorporate something.
I have a
Mr.
suggestion.
Mr. Moore addressed that too.
But
Just
I do
no,
have a suggestion,
go ahead.
because Brian is so passionate about the parking board that there's an opportunity to switch boards and be on the parking board and actually move forward in that capacity, because he's so well knowledgeable of the parking in the city.
Been on the board before, and I may go
Yes.
on it again at some point.
Oh, well, there we go.
There's 2 spots open.
Yeah, there's 2
Maybe
spots
3.
open.
Yeah. I don't know if you're allowed to be on more than one board at once.
You cannot.
Okay, well, there's 2 openings. Now the world knows. So if you are interested in parking and mobility
I thought it was a
studies,
great board.
please
I thought it was a great board, to tell you the truth.
step forward.
But I think, and I may be misremembering, Mr. Moore did say this board can have a liaison or a person that goes to those meetings and reports back to you all. So
I am
Doesn't
that
Laura-
Yeah,
person.
Laura has to as
I
a
am sitting
part of
on
the
the
yeah,
permanent
declaration.
but he
resident.
was speaking to the board members. So Brian still has the opportunity.
Yeah,
No,
stop
and I
in.
think what he might have been suggesting as he was at June 3rd's city commission meeting under city manager comments at the end of the meeting, he did recommend or share with the council that he is working with Public Works Director and Development Services Director, and I would assume Jeff Orris, on looking at the Parking Management Advisory Board, and we'll bring back recommendations at a future meeting, which might be the July 8th meeting, where, based on our organization, I would bring it to the July 8th meeting about what the recommendation is for the Parking Management Advisory Board going forward.
Prior to July 8th, I would like, if the board agrees, to send a letter. I do agree with Brian. The DDA was formed to be the parking board and was the parking board in the city until 1994. And it seems as if the parking board has not had an agenda for months and has not had a quorum when it was most important. And I don't think it should be overlooked. And I think that there may be logic to having the DDA be involved more in that, if not take the place of as it was before. So can we send a letter and in some way notify them?
Mr. Chair, if the board wants to do something along those lines, you should probably make a motion just so it's clear on the record.
Make that motion.
No,
That's
I
what
know
I'm
you can't.
suggesting.
I know you can't. I know there's probably someone who may want to make that motion.
I mean, but how much
There was
back
too
office
much
stuff
that
is it
happened.
for
I
you
lost,
guys
you know.
to try to absorb this?
couldn't make that motion.
Laura's doing
Do
it
you want to
already.
restate it one time for
I know,
me
but
real
is
quick?
there
I'll
not
give
a
it
lot
a
of prep
shot.
and stuff
I
for
would
this
say,
that they
and
have
this
to
is what
absorb?
I'm just going to be honest about this. I think what happened, the parking board purview or purpose, or the ordinance that was recently adopted back, I guess now 5-7 years ago, changed a little bit of the dynamic of the purpose of the board. Generally going from meeting and we're reviewing all parking in the downtown area to now really meeting to provide input and right? Aaron, would you agree? Even when we were
I think I was on the board
it
when you were on
changed
the
a lot.
board, Al. Yeah.
So I think really we're, from a downtown organization, all parking and all parking challenges, our parking, traffic, mobility, everything that happens is happening in our downtown. That is really our organization's overview and focus primarily on really how our downtown is successful for everything. So it's not just when Lou comes forward or some type of project comes forward. It's every time. Yeah. So I think that itself, that's not something that is a regular conversation at the parking board meetings, or it lends itself to have the expertise for that, where this board does have that expertise. So I think, based on, obviously, if you look at our statute, it's very clear on what we're recommending, should be recommending as projects planned, especially around traffic, parking, navigation. So I think it doesn't warrant whether it's absorbing it into here, but really looking at it overall, what the purpose and goal of the Parking Management Advisory Board is.
Right, and again, I think some of that, again, looking
board.
at it today versus when it was originally established as today, we have a lot more opportunities to look at these metrics that we are collecting every month with the parking meters and the sensors and other things. And again, when I was sat on the Parking Advisory Board, it was a very active board. I think you were on it, part of it. We had Bruce Skinney on it. Everyone studied parking. Everyone walked around. Everyone looked at parking at night and the day. And again, now with these metrics, if that old board had that stuff, I think we'd be digging into it. And I just think it's maybe something worth discussing, which again, we discussed too. So
Are you going to make a motion, Brian?
Oh, to see?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Here's your big chance.
This is it.
Like, what are you waiting for?
I would like to make a motion that we have the DDA write a letter to the city requesting for the opportunity to take over the Parking Advisory Board to look at these topics and help streamline things and work with the city.
Second.
Clarification, I think it's a recommendation, right?
That's what I said, recommendation.
I think I made a mistake in an earlier vote in what I said with the millage, so I think we want to go back because I believe that was a recommendation as well. We're not the ultimate authority, I don't believe, on the millage, so.
Still a second.
Yep.
Recommendation.
We are. For the millage, yes.
Yeah.
We are.
We are.
We are the final?
Mm-hmm.
We're the final. We're it.
It gets discussed every year sometimes, but
Yeah.
but again, we're past that. And again, I wanted to just if you
All
made the
in favor?
motion, you could deal with it. Yeah.
Go ahead, Al. You have a motion and a second.
Okay, are we going to do action? Let's do it by person.
Yes. Veer Woodson.
Absolutely not.
Brian Rosen.
Yes.
Alan Costello.
Yes.
Cole David.
Yes.
Aaron Halliburton.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Now the fun
Thank
stuff.
you.
Thank you all for that. I think that is advisable. Oh,
I just, folding in, we are already always hitting 3 o'clock. Fold in the
Only 2:20.
responsibility,
Oh, you mean?
you're gonna be going till 5 o'clock.
Oh,
So we'll
I
go to
just
5
think they need to
o'clock.
fix the board over there and
Maybe we'll have a separate meeting per
Is
month.
this May or
And that
June
meeting will be a
retreat time?
2-hour meeting.
you all have fun.
Thank you, ma'am. You'll be in Greece, I know.
That's right.
Okay.
Snack time. All right.
It's
So
update. Is it update time?
it is. We're on
Okay.
item 5E. All right. So
We
So-
shorted this last time.
yeah, right. So we're gonna just drag it on for at
5
least
o'clock.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
No, this is, I just want to okay, seriously though, I appreciate the board. You've done a great job today. But the team has been killing it out there, really working in the trenches with our city, our businesses, primarily as we roll out our Love Delray, our summer, because summer, as we all know, summer is, the summer blues are here. It's a slow time. We're really trying to do what we can to enhance and drive traffic here. So we're really excited. I do want to I don't steal the thunder on the presentation, but we gave a tour last Thursday with a travel writer from U.S. News and World Report, who came to Delray to report back and started promoting through their channels. So this was a free, basically, and part of working with Discover the Palm Beaches, bringing that to really share and to the world that Delray, what Delray has to offer, especially at slower times, because that was really her focus, like the hidden gems, things to note, when best time to travel. So we were really focusing on the summer. So just want to shout that out there. So that, and then I'm going to turn it over to Sue to really give us, and the team, to give us a really big highlight and shout out on the Love Delray campaign for the summer. And all the efforts that we're seeing come
And
through.
happy birthday, Suzanne.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Brian.
Oh,
I think we're a couple of days within each other.
My birthday was yesterday.
Oh, was it? Gemini too. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, and Quentin, too.
Oh,
right.
Quentin.
Thank you, everyone. Thank
Your
you.
birthday, Quentin.
Your birthday was yesterday?
Yes, sir.
This explains so much.
I know, right?
Oh man, I gotta make sure. Yeah, I gotta make sure I dress like you next time.
And people say they don't believe in astrology. Okay, we digress. All right, so we're going to start with the Love Delray campaign. So we've done this the last 2 summers, as you all know, but this summer we're doing things a little bit differently. We're really focusing on wellness, because people will travel for wellness no matter the time of year. And people in the wellness community love being hot. So, why not come to Delray and warm up? All right. So really it's about living well, saving big, and loving Delray. That was our campaign this summer. We are preparing and organizing and producing a bunch of wellness experiences and programs and activations. But in addition to that, we're also offering this wellness savings pass. And we've done that in the past, but this year is different because we're using a third-party provider. And so it's very high level, and we are very excited about this. So first of all, I want to talk about the activations. We launched this on June 1st in conjunction with Coco Market this past Sunday. We brought in MC Yogi, who's an international recording artist and a yoga instructor who teaches and does these festivals all over the world. We brought him in. He was amazing. And then he led a ticketed event inside the gym later in that afternoon. We had 100 people in that event. And we were excited to bring him back because everyone's like, please bring him back. So it was like a concert, yoga, people were dancing, people were doing yoga. It was really, really amazing. And then we're producing a bunch of other wellness events and promoting events that our businesses are doing. For instance, next month, we're going to do a full moon yoga and sound bath at Old School Square. So a lot of fun events coming this summer. All right, now let's talk about the savings pass. This is what kind of Laura was talking about in boots on the ground and going out and just getting all of our businesses signed up for this. Even though we did have a third-party provider, they had to go in and sign up through this platform. Our goal was to have 50 businesses sign up. We have had 75 businesses so far sign up, and we're allowing some stragglers to come in, but really we've closed it because it just is more work the more businesses that sign up for us, just as far as promotion is concerned. So we set a deadline of mid-May, and we're now into almost mid-June. But it's a mobile exclusive savings passport. If you haven't signed up for it yet, it's not an app. You don't have to download anything. But basically we encourage our businesses to offer some sort of wellness related special, and you can see what that looks like. So this is kind of an idea of what it looks like when you go into the savings pass and sort of what the businesses are offering. Like for instance, Bamboo Garden Yoga is offering 3 different things. Buy one, get one, class free. You get 1 month 50% off. So you can offer multiple discounts as well. The other thing that I'm really excited about for this with using this third-party provider is the data, right? We didn't get data under the other way that we did it because the businesses had to give us their information in order for us to know who redeemed it. It's a redemption that comes on your phone. You have to show it to the clerk or the the person at the checkout, and then we have the data that it's been redeemed. So we've already seen that we've had 575 people sign up, which is huge. This only launched June 1st, so only launched a week ago. And we've had 50 redemptions so far. We're kind of surprised. We can see how many have been redeemed at what businesses, and you can see from the pie chart, Charleston Shoe Company is killing it with 17 redemptions. Dandelight Yoga Studio has had 7, and then Dada, Deck 84, Old School Square, because we have some Old School Square offerings, and Modern Rose have all come in at 3. But we can see real time how this pass is doing, and it's awesome data. It also gives the people that have signed up an opportunity to opt into our marketing, and I would say about 350 people have opted in. So that's more people that we can bring into the DDA marketing umbrella. So we're also getting signups into our marketing.
One other thing we can also message to them too, right?
Yep. So we can send them direct messages, like text messages, and so we have real time communication with them as well. All right, media
so
coverage.
Awesome. Just want to repeat that. So awesome. Like this is powerful. I almost want to put in. We'll talk in comments, but a little challenge to all the board to see who racks up the most points.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Teaser. Continue on.
Okay, so
redeem.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
think it's awesome. It's really, I think the tracking.
Yeah, we're going to be using it for Restaurant Month as well. So we're going to be using it for multiple programs. So we've signed up for 2 passes so far, so we'll be using it for Restaurant Month. All right, and I just want to talk about our media coverage. Our PR team is constantly getting us coverage. This is so we got a call last week that WPTV and WFLX, which does their Shining a Light segment in the morning, had a hole on Monday, right? And this was Monday after we launched on Sunday, this event. And of course, this means everyone has to get up early, and you have to do, you have to produce the segment. So we did. I always say we say yes to this, right? And when you look at the audience and you look at the value of this publicity, you cannot say no to this kind of stuff. We got 12 mentions all that day on these powerhouse local TV stations, which is an audience of about 286,000 people, and 60,000 is the value of that publicity. We cannot buy that. And so we did that, and that's just one little piece of this PR puzzle that we have, that all the marketing that we're getting behind this, which is really impressive. Mother's Day Orchid giveaway. We also had that in May at the beginning of the month of the Mother's Day weekend. This is a retail promotion. It is for our downtown shops. During the week of Mother's Day, when things start to slow down, we start to see a significant slowdown around that time. And shoppers who spend $200 or more got a free orchid. So once again, a success. We actually had to run back and Laura was buying more orchids.
I saw a golf cart full of them in front of your office, running back and forth. There was no room for anyone to sit. It was just orchids sticking out.
So we're all kind of running around and making sure that everyone that wants an orchid and has the receipts gets their orchid. And so it was once again a success, and people just love this promotion and this program.
We actually started some fights from among women.
Yeah, they wanted a certain color. Okay, and this is exciting. In May, we also learned that we won the Best Beach in Florida 2 years in a row. So this is the second year that we've won this USA Today Reader's Choice Award. And this is big. We did a whole marketing campaign behind this. Once they tell us that we're a nominee, we go full on marketing, because it's big when you win this. It's not just big for the announcement in May, it's big the entire year. This is an award that gets us attention, not just here locally, but nationally and internationally. It's like the Blue Flag Award, it's a big deal. We were in Southern Living Magazine. I mean, we get a lot of coverage from this, and that's why it's so important that we go all in on these awards. Okay, I've talked about this, but I wanted to just give you guys a little sneak peek. This is a sneak peek, so this is kind of like what it's going to look like, but not exactly. So the photos are not Delray Beach. They will be Delray Beach. What's that? I know. How
my
cute is
granddaughter.
she?
Little kids are
Just
supposed to be like, you can't throw away the postcards and stuff. That's why they always put them on it. Yeah.
So we have been working on this new website. It is coming soon. I'm thinking we're just not rushing it. I'm thinking by the end of the summer we'll have the new website. We just went through an extensive photo and video shoot. Thank you to Danielle and our photographer, Deborah Somerville. And we had a video because the whole homepage will now be a video.
Cole was one of our models.
Oh, Cole, yes. Thank you, Cole.
I saw Danielle
Cole's a
running around
model.
with the guy with
Cole's
the
our
camera in the
businessman.
street, like frantic, like looking at the watches. Everyone was hustling. You could tell things
It
were
was
happening.
intense.
Yeah. We've been having weekly meetings with the design team, and right now we're in the process of writing copy and creating the layouts. But I'm very, very excited, not only for the look of this and how it's just going to feel a lot better, it's going to be a lot more user friendly, and it's going to cut back on time that the staff has to update this. There's a lot of time, as Emily can attest to, that goes into just keeping these websites updated. And there's a lot of efficiencies and automations that are happening with this new website, which will really cut down on staff time. Mariska, you want to talk about Pineapple Grove Art Care?
Sorry, I forgot this was in here. This was here last month and we didn't get through it, but I just wanted to tell you that the fish hook has been totally redone, sanded, polished. It looks much better. It's a more vibrant color now. So that's been taken care of. We still have one last piece in Pineapple Grove that has to be done. It's the Russell piece. It's a large red piece by the Arts Garage. And we will have Stephen here next month to talk about some additional things that we need to talk about with regard to public art and Pineapple Grove art.
He's the guy that does this stuff.
Correct. Yep.
Thanks, Mariska. I'm going to turn it over to Laura to talk about our street pole
Oh, yeah.
banners.
First, I'm sorry, Aaron's not here, but this is
Oh, yeah.
our
Oh, you have it in
4th
person.
of July banners. Oops, sorry, did I just drop off something? Oh, very good. Thank you, sir. So these are our street pole banners for 4th of July. They're going to be going up next week and leading up to our 4th of July celebration. So they're going to go from 95 down to the beach.
Nice, Terrence. It matches the suit.
You're such a good Vanna White.
And we will be, yes. We are going to be doing the bunting on the pavilion as well this year, as well, and decorating for our 4th of July holiday, because we want to recognize that in a very big way as people are here visiting. Also, Pineapple Grove banners, we are updating those to be, this is a new design. The others were white. It's like a reversed out. I feel that this definitely, they're really damaged. We're looking at a stronger fabric since those are up all the time. Unlike the vinyl, which is this will be only up for 2 weeks and then come down. We need a sunbrella or a very like UV heavy material to withstand the elements here. So they should be getting those quotes right now. Doing all this work obviously right now, and we want to be ready as we roll out in September and October as we start coming back on into season. Our welcome banner, we're going out this is a new design for us. We're looking at that and maybe reworking it a little bit more. We really want to push our Village by the Sea and for our city. So that's our standalone banner. And then our Coco Gauff, congratulations to Coco Gauff and this weekend in her championship win. We did have these after she won the U.S. Open based on a resident's recommendation, and then we put those up in the middle of the night. But we will be looking at possibly reproducing something like that now based on her championship this weekend, so for some recognition and love. Libby Wesley Plaza, as a part of our plan this year, is really looking at activating and lighting that place up. And we've been working really all year on trying to find a way to really do something different over there. We do have some proposals on the lighting, adding more lighting out there to make it more inviting. I also learned from other cities that had some information from other downtowns on how they've done some sound, just creating more, just adding a sound system out there that would play some classical music or different music that for those that are coming to the location, they'll be able to enjoy without having to have a band out there or a permit. So those are some suggestions that I haven't mentioned to the city yet, but I thought would be a way for us to liven it up a little bit. Yes, ma'am. I know you have comments.
So, as Al says, I travel everywhere. The other night, I went to the Pompano pop-up that was happening, and they had, just like we do, street festival artists. You can walk into the art galleries. You walked into the artist space, and there was one lady who had her easel popped up right outside of her art gallery, and she was painting. And I thought, this is something we need to consider for Libby, and call it Painting on the Plaza. We just put tarps on the ground, have artists book or whatever, like they do the yoga in the library, and just bring their own stuff and pop up and just paint in that space. And it'll activate it with people who are like a community, to where it becomes like a weekly thing where artists can pop up and paint outside. And it's something when people drive by, they know that first and foremost, you see the beautiful sway coming down from, coming in from 95, you see the beautiful art that's there on the grass, but then you start to see people and they're activated doing art.
Right.
And it's something for people to come over and to just look over their shoulder and see the art being created in real time. I think that's something that should be considered.
Great. I love it. We're also working with the Share Future Foundation, the SET Coalition, on actually proposing a plan or an event that will come up as part of almost a regular occurrence on a weekly, monthly basis, or bi-monthly, just depending on bandwidth and funding. So,
Yeah. I would also
yes, sir?
make sure we speak with the Tropical. I know you got Jason's number at Tropical Smokehouse.
Okay.
It's opening up the little red building. I'm sure they have some dollars available, to partner with us to help activate that park. I know they'd love to see some things happen
Great.
there. So I'd definitely just say, as we're exploring it, make sure we give them a call.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to say, hey, you can, it's not included as like patio seating, for the restaurant to have seats out in the park, because it's on the side of
Sure.
the restaurant, not on the front. But if we do an event, we have seats there and they're allowed to serve food out there, that's great.
Well, I
If
know
they wanna
important,
do
right.
alcohol, they got to do the fence and all the other stuff. But again, maybe they'll incur some of those costs to activate that area.
Good.
Just,
Yeah, I know Important Famous was there when we had an event, when we had the art and jazz event, and they were,
Yeah, exactly.
we had the band
Killing
right
it.
there. It was perfect. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. But it is something that I also, because it is a corner spot, it's right on Atlantic Avenue, high volume of traffic that goes by there, and it is daytime. It's a park that closes at sunset. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of shade there. So that's something else that we, have had discussions with the city on. It's just like, how do we do something there that's going to be sustainable? So some pop up, as we say, temporary art or art activations or displays or interactive history
all
exhibitions.
the umbrellas upside down. I thought about the same thing.
Yeah.
Stop watching
Tell it,
some
yeah.
of it,
Tell that story of the community. They do it, the historical society, but bringing different art and history exhibitions. Different. We've had lots of those discussions. It's now just really setting on them and setting a plan, and that's where we are right now. So
Glad to see that this is a focus right now. So.
yeah, it has been. It's definitely a work in progress for
Yeah, I
sure.
know.
Shelley.
Hello. Well, since I didn't get to talk in April, I have to step back really quickly and just say we had a record April. Highest number of visitors in the visitor center in 5 years. So just to go there first. May was also a great month. Again, we did have the slowdown, as everybody is seeing, but we did have significant increases in percentages of the distribution coming from Delray, Florida, and also the Midwest. So we're seeing a lot more visitors from those areas, which is kind of unusual. We're used to seeing our Northeast, our Canadians, our Europeans, even our South Americans, but seeing our Midwest people come a lot is interesting. Also this month, and then we can go to the next one, we had a big volunteer appreciation event. So twice a year we try to appreciate our volunteers and let them know how much we thank them for all the hours they've put in. We held this at the Cornell, and we had about 50 people. It was a huge event. Wine Wave and Gelato and Company gave us some donations, so it was a really, really elegant, beautiful event. And Maruska and I, between the two of us, we recognized 4 different volunteers for service, years of service, and hours of service. Some people that really needed just spotlighting and to say thank you, an extra special thank you for. And Laura found some beautiful gifts for them. Gelato & Co. did a fantastic tour. If you haven't been there, boy, they just do it. It is fresh, organic, real, good stuff. Really good stuff. And everybody enjoyed having a nice treat afterwards. We also are really enjoying our spotlight that's in the visitor center. If you haven't seen it, Silver Ball was our May spotlight business that we highlighted, and now we're moved on, and Deck 84 has a really great 3D. They've utilized the space neatly, and it's really wonderful to see them getting a lot of attention from that. And last but not least, we have an incredible new flag that our graphic designer did for us, and it really highlights here we are the visitor center, and you can see it. It's perpendicular, so as you're coming off the beach, you see our sign and you know where to head, where the doors are. So we're hoping to get even more people in on that, and definitely have some more stuff coming up, lots of stuff coming up in June and July. So that's about it for us. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us how the visitors, because you're saying you're seeing more from the Midwest, how are they finding us? Is it from being voted best beach? Is it word of mouth? Where are we finding that impact?
Wide variety, I would say. Yeah, I don't have any specifics on exactly where they're coming or how they're coming in, but it's from the magazine articles, it's from having family and friends in town, it's from still the devastation that's on the West Coast. A lot of them are coming over because their places is still not fully up and going on the West Coast, so they're traveling to the East Coast and checking us out this year.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley. All right, and just coming up in downtown, these are some events. Just make sure you put on your calendar. July 4th, of course, the big 4th of July festival and fireworks by the city. They are doing the barge again this year, so you will have the full fireworks this year. July 10th, as I mentioned, that full moon yoga and sound bath event. That's part of our Love Delray Wellness event this summer. And then July 23rd, we're doing Art and Jazz on the Avenue. This is our rescheduled Pineapple Grove event that got postponed in January because of a storm. So we aren't going to be doing that in Pineapple Grove in July. That's right. That is the best. Well, it's the longest one. Yeah.
And length.
In length. Is it? Oh, not in hours. Yeah. Okay, so I did get to just mention this, but I do want to just circle back on the rebrand vote and talk about sort of next steps for this. As you all know, we got 10,000 votes cast. Patricia was the winner, Patricia Torres. We had a ton of media coverage of her win. And right now she is she's doing meetings with our graphic designer. I think they're doing weekly or bi-weekly or bi-monthly meetings to create this house of logos for the entire campus. And that new look will be revealed at the Centennial Celebration in early fall. Maruska?
Hello again. So the month of May, we were busy in the museum too. We had attendance of just over 1,000, which is down a bit from previous months, but still strong. Our donations were $2,500 or so. Museum sales, we had $1,895, and I did add in docent and volunteer hours. We have over 200 hours from our docents every month, so that's pretty amazing. And I just did sort of the first quarter recap, and that's over 6,000 in 3 months. That's pretty amazing. So it's great stuff. Or that's over 6,000 year to date from the time that we reopened the museum. So I just wanted to clarify that. And just in case you're wondering what we're doing between exhibition openings, we are busy. We do site visits. I was just at Guac Studio in Sarasota, and he's got this huge bucket, KFC bucket, that he's created that is actually a hot tub for his Airbnb. Got to stay in his Airbnb, which was crazy fun. And those are just some of the pieces that are already lined up, ready to come over to us. So it's important for us to go and visit these artists, just find out who they are, what they bring to the table. And then I also went to Dorothy Gillespie's son's house, which is just north of us in Boynton Beach, to look at some additional pieces that we want to include. So not only are we working on what we have in front of us, but we're always looking forward, always looking to see what's coming up. And exhibitions take months to plan. So I just wanted to sort of bring that back and let everybody know. We did have a pop-up that we put in place. We had a spot where the children's art was in our gallery. The children had to get their art back because school year was ending and we needed to give it back. So we thought, let's just make it an all Italy upstairs in the museum. And we brought in Impressions of Italy by Ralph Papa, who's a local artist who's created Plein Air Palm Beach. That was his baby. He was the originator of that. And he's a teacher. He has taught at the Creative Arts School, teaches in Boca, teaches up at the Armory, at Lighthouse. And so he's a wealth of information. We're going to do some talks with him. This is his... every year he goes to Italy, and this is a residency, kind of a recap of the last 7 years of doing his residency in Italy. So that brought in 100 guests when we wouldn't, normally expect to have them in. That was great. And then a little bit more information about our volunteer appreciation. I just had some additional photos and popped them in there. Shelley already told you about it. But we are seeing a large number of volunteers and people who are wanting to get involved. So we're getting some good attention with that. That's about it.
Hold on.
Oh, I have one other thing to say. We just had First Friday Art Walk and had 150 people in June. So it was a great, great night. We had an artist live painting. We had another artist up in the gallery talking to people. We had music. So that was incredible. And I do have one other thing. Harold Caudio, who is going to be creating the Skittles art for Pop Culture, is working with Coco Gauff's family to create a portrait of Coco Gauff.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And when that happens, that's going to be revealed in the museum. So stay tuned for that information. And answer your question.
I do.
Skittles.
I do have a question. Maruska, if I recall, and I'm getting older, okay?
Not at all.
You were responsible for the original 6x6 event that was held in Old School Square Museum, the Cornell. You were the person who created it, designed how it was going to be implemented, and the charitable proceeds and how that was distributed. As one of my gifts to the city, especially because it's in Old School Square, which Al says I'm responsible for all of the problems that happened, I would like to sponsor 6x6 back in the museum under your direction, but under the guidelines, it must be locals only. Only people from Delray can enter their art, and I'd like for that money to be split between you and Spady Museum. So you let me know how much that costs, and I will write the check. But I want you to maintain that because you started it. It's yours, and we need to bring that back in-house.
It's a lovely thought, and we will explore that.
Thank you.
If we can. Thank you.
It's really something.
Yeah, very nice, Spirit.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Hey, by the way, I was
Marissa.
looking at these 24 events that you've orchestrated and made happen in that museum since taking over in 2022. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, seriously, like the stuff we're doing in that museum and the work and the volunteers, it's really, I just want to say, like, it's a lot. And
Thank
you're
you.
doing
And it is-
great caliber stuff. And it's tough on our budget and all the other stuff. And I know we're always on the edge, spending all the museum money. And I'm always like, give more money to the museum. But, this is why. Because these are a number of events that are generating a lot of income and, and not just the income, but it's the traffic. I'm okay losing money on stuff
it's
to
economic
do it. Yeah, it's the economic impact
That's what
and
it's
really
about.
the art and
Understood.
culture that we're bringing and the level.
If we can
So
bring
thank you.
people into the museum, then we bring them downtown. Then they're shopping and they're eating.
I'm
and
just
drinking.
saying, you're doing
Yeah.
a lot in there. You are doing a lot in there.
We
so.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good team effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't put it together and not promote it, so thank you.
Yeah, and the team. I mean, and the team.
She
let
does a
everyone know
lot
what
of
we're doing.
promotion.
Yeah. Thank you.
And just finally, I just want to talk about our summer at the Square. This is kind of our plan for the summer, specifically for the amphitheater. We are doing sunset tribute concerts. These are the free concerts. We're bringing them back just for the summer. And they're on the fourth Friday of the month. Rod Stewart, Fleetwood Mac, Billy Joel. And then, of course, our Pop 2000 and Pop Culture exhibition that's going to be on July 5th. And then Jimmy Buffett Party in Paradise on August 30th. Last year, we sold 1,700 tickets to this, which is probably, it's our biggest event by far on the campus that we produce. And so we're bringing that back this year, obviously.
Pop 2000 is not a tribute. It is actually.
No, it is the actual bands. NSYNC, LFO, O-Town, and Ryan Cabrera. The real people, Vera, come.
My younger sorority sister just told me yesterday, she's like, in sync. And I go, dude, I was the New Edition girl, okay? I went to, Disneyland after graduation, New Edition performed, Candy Girl, I'm good, okay? So you and in sync have a great time.
We'll make that your going away party.
New Edition. Awesome. Great. Anything else? Suze? That's it. That's it. Okay.
Okay,
Good.
Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, team.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Suzanne. Great report as usual. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. I just have one thing. We are in the process of filling a upcoming vacancy on the board. And by we, I mean the city. So I have been in contact with the city's attorney. She has instructed and they have provided a copy of the applications just so we can see them in case there's any issues that we see. I will say for the city side, the application interface that they're using now is 100 times better than the one that was previously instituted. So it's a lot easier for the folks who have submitted to understand what they're doing. I'm not sure when that change was made, but I think it was a great change by the administration of the city. But like any other process, when you have people, there's going to be some issues, and I don't think if there are any issues, it's on the city side, because I think their process is much improved. So that process is ongoing. I believe the appointment is going to be made at the next city commission meeting. As you all, as we heard in the beginning, we all are saddened by the loss of Sonny. I'm not sure if they're intending to, broach that subject at that meeting, but I would think not.
No,
I would think not.
They would take notice for that.
Yeah, right. So I think they're also mourning his loss because they all knew him from the community. So that's the end of my report, Mr. Chair.
Laura?
Yes, thank you. Couple things, just a reminder that we will send a notification out, but we are going to do a planning/budget planning meeting on June 24th. The time is 12 to 3:30, and it'll be at the Hampton Inn, which the Hampton Inn is actually a Harold Van Arnam's hotel. So we'll be there. And that is on 2nd Street and 5th Avenue. So just so you all know that.
What date?
24. Yeah, I had sent that email out on the 29th. That is happening, so please mark your calendars there. And then I also wanted to take this time to say thank you to Vera Woodson for her 3 years of service and volunteerism and up and beyond just our board meetings. You show up prepared. You've been a huge energy source for us at the team, on the team level, a cheerleader, and just a very strong voice for us and helping at some times that we really needed it. So I truly, on behalf of all of us, we have a little gift.
Yeah!
Is this the one from the office?
Oh, that's awesome.
See, if you really think about it, it's coming
So,
It finally has arrived in the proper hands. Thank you.
Take care of it. There you go.
I mean, it'll have to come with you to all the events, you know.
Exactly.
So,
Thank you guys.
thank you very much.
I know there's board comments, but I want to say thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. And, you know, this has been a labor of love. I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Yes. That's
Laura?
good. I think that's it.
Go ahead, Vera, take us away.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes, this is my last official monthly meeting, but as I said, there was one added to the end of the month, and I was like, they're not letting me go. I want to thank, first of all, everyone who works for the city, who had, especially those that I've interacted with to help improve the lives of the people that we serve. So I want to say thank you to the city, from the commission to the commissioners, to Jeff, to Mr. Moore, to Lynn Jellin, who stopped me outside the city hall a couple times to put a bug in my ear. I want to thank all of you for all your day-to-day work for our citizens. It's very important and impressive. I'm leaving, but of course I still live here. It's not like I'm like going away. But there are a lot of things that I still, of course, have in my heart to support. I have recently created a line of greeting cards for Spady Museum, which will be on sale soon, so that it will support financial fundraising for the museum itself. So I'm excited about that. I've been working on it for a couple weeks now. I also partnered with Spady Museum. It was brought to my attention because I have been a teacher before, that Charlene has some wonderful ideas over there, and I just thought I would fund some things. So on the 20th, the Millennial Table, which is part of an offshoot of the set, is going to go into Village Academy and read to the 4 and 5 year olds that'll be preparing for school. And so they'll be reading a book together, and then all of the students, I've funded this, will receive a book to take home, because it's important that you have books in the home, which can help improve literacy in the home and for the students. As you well know, we've had conversations about the literacy level in our city, and that's the only way we can improve it. If this works, I will also work with them to fund books to put in the backpacks during the backpack drives for back to school, because I think it's important that students have books to read on their own. We're looking for culturally appropriate books, because I am a big believer in cultural competence. I know that we are, as a country, walking in a different direction, but I stay steadfast in understanding that that is how we bridge divides, and how we also learn to love is through understanding everyone and what they bring to the table. I also am working with, and I don't want to say this out loud because I don't want all of a sudden for our task force or police force to show up, but I am a subscriber to Garden and Gun magazine. I have been since I was in Virginia. It's a beautiful magazine, and I actually traveled with them to Bermuda for my 50th birthday. I know some of you think I'm 30, Jim. I'm 57. And Garden and Gun magazine puts on some beautiful events, which I had the opportunity to travel with the magazine through Outstanding in the Field to Bermuda and attend. I reached out to them and told them about Delray Beach, and told them about all our assets and how they should come here to the city. And then I forwarded the email to Laura to make the connection so that hopefully Garden and Gun will bring a large-scale event. The event was like a 4-course meal overlooking a cliff with champagne and all of that. It was like $250 a plate. It's a big-ticket event, but it also drives a lot of people into those venues. I also wanted to let the CRA know, if Renee is watching, that they will be a food truck will be in contact with you, Vegan Mirage. They are interested in the space after I sold them on the idea of coming to Delray to start their business. Here, it's a vegan food truck, and I know we have a vegan restaurant going in, actually 2 vegan restaurants that are coming in. I would love for this to be the city of wellness, as we have been having that as a focus, but we need more vegan restaurants. One reason why people don't switch to veganism is because it's not easily accessible, says the lady who just had Chick-fil-A on Wednesday. So if vegan is much easier to access, people would probably consider it as a lifestyle choice. And then the last thing, I also supported and sent Laura an email for an event that I tried to have back in 2021 with Tamia. Tamia is a Grammy Award nominated singer, and I bumped into her husband, Grant Hill, the basketball player, when my husband and I went to, I think it was game 3 of the NBA Finals a few years ago to go see Steph Curry. We flew out there, and then we walked in the streets. We bumped into Grant Hill, and I said, "Oh my God, your wife should come and sing." And he was like, "Okay," and he gave me her manager's information, so I forwarded that to Laura. So hopefully, I haven't left an empty seat. So whoever takes this seat on, hopefully a woman, so that people can continue to say, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought you were going to say women are smarter.
No, I hope that whoever is in this seat really looks at it as a labor of love as well, and supports the folks in the DDA to continue the good work that they do. And that's all I've tried to do. The reputation of the DDA rests not only on the people that work there, but for the board members. And so we need to think about it and talk about it positively, and that's all I've tried to do. So thank you guys for being great partners with me.
That was all great except for the vegan thing. Speaking as a cheesesteak shop owner.
Steak guy. Sorry, Al.
Okay, I guess this one time. Jim, do you have any comments?
I just wanted to clarify something on the millage. It still goes in front of the city commission for final approval or not?
No.
It goes through it goes on the city commission for adoption.
So we are the final authority on that.
It's in the charter that that the board recommended. That's it? Brian.
Couple quick comments. Again, one comment is, I'm a budget oriented person, and again, I'm giving Daniel a hard time on it. I don't have any issues with the event. I'd love to see the event. It's just these are tax dollars, and I just want to see where they're going and how they're being used and what's happening due to them, who's benefiting. A lot of times, if they're non-for-profits, they're giving the money to other non-for-profits. They report, it's about the taxpayer dollars. The other thing, again, Sonny, love you, buddy. He talked about budgets a while ago and having budgets for our stuff. I'm just looking at our May events, in the back up here, and it's good information in general. It's the Vintage Gym, Palmosa rented it, great. I'd love to see what we got, or if we gave it to them, if there's an expense, all these different things. Talks about the different concerts. It shows the ticket revenues, but it doesn't show any of the expenses. So it's hard for me, even though this is some good information, to really understand, was it a good event or was it a bad event for us financially? Was it a good event or bad event for us on attendance? If it's free, we get better attendance, and it helps us if we understand budgets. And I think it's really a basic thing to have budgets for our different the Memorial Day kickoff concert with Bon Jovi. We should probably have a budget with that, and they should include all the expenses that are tied to it, whether it's some booking costs or our staff costs. I know that even the Beatles on the Beach, it's like, well, we got this revised budget with $5,000 less, but there's some costs that are costs that we get all the time for anything we do, and it wasn't part of the agreement. But I think we really need to understand as clearly as possible, what our costs are for the events. Like, as a board, we should see it, and it would really help. Not just, well, we don't report those $5,000 in costs because we still had the costs based on the contract. Then it should be two things. Hey, these are the costs. This is what we're reimbursing the contract. These are the total costs for the event. This is what we netted. It'll give us the ability to help and provide more light on what we'd like to see happening. And then even with you guys, when you do it, if you're not already doing it, you'll see a little clearer on what's working, what's not working, and where do we want to invest our time and money in, and what events are having the greatest success. So that's my one budget comment. And with that, because I'm all about motions today, I'd like to see if I can get a motion from the board to have budgets as something that we have moving forward for these events that we do.
Did we do that?
No, I mean, even for our concerts and stuff, because like in the reporting in May, it shows the revenue, but it doesn't show the expenses.
You want all the backup for that?
I don't need the backup.
located?
I just need like you did it for Leonard Skinner. You gave us a
Right,
thing.
so, yeah.
That's all I'm looking for. Is just these were the expenses and this was the income. This is where we got sponsorships for it, so we know if we got sponsorships and just kind of so we can look at every event, understand.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think from like just a marketing expenses perspective, because we do them in groups, right? So the Twilight concerts are all marketed together. So I think maybe what we can talk about is if we're going to do that, let's do it as a group. And so you see like all the Sunset concerts, because then we have all the marketing dollars instead of breaking it down per.
Yeah. Even in your budgets, we can allocate. You get an expense. You can say, hey, it's for these 4 projects, so each one gets a quarter.
We are. So I think what we can bring forward to you all and at our budget meeting is like going through all the detail. If that's how we want to focus on that meeting, as well as because in our detailed budget, our backup workbook, it's, as you see, it's allocated based on like we have marketing, then we have the logistics. I can share with you all those
but we
expenses
talked
that are in there.
Yeah, we talked about it before. Even when we do like a paid marketing for a print thing, right? And there's 3 or 4 things that are in that print thing. That print cost of $10,000 gets allocated $2,500 to each of the 4 things, and that's what we know is an expense, and we're tracking it. I understand that your bills aren't all for one thing, but you can just divide it based on what things you're paying for.
Right, which we
That's
based
all.
right similar. So I'll use our legal services for example, because we talk about different things, and they're itemized based on his invoice. It's going to allocate it to in legal, whether it's for DDA or for Old School Square. So that's how that's broken out. So but at that line item, it just says legal services. It doesn't say exactly what he did for that whole month, but on his invoice it does. So we can go super granular, or I mean, I hear that where your specific request is for, which is on mainly the events and programs for Old School Square.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like there's other on the DDA.
No, but it's just even
more
the
Old
ones,
School
I don't know how
Square.
ours really
So-
were based on what I'm seeing. I just don't know when it says like we sold a bunch of VIP tickets. I'm like, great, but I don't know if that
that's
band
Old
was
School-
20 grand or 5
So that's
grand.
under the Old School Square. But so my point is like we can focus on the under Old School Square. We'll go in. I can go granular on that as we go through it in our budget workshop meeting.
Yeah, or even just again, all I'd like to look for is like on this one page when you had the band updates and stuff, you just can put, the cost, the revenue.
So
I don't
that-
even need it would be nice if we had a backup like this. Like I just think it's important to look at because then we know what we're spending money on
And just also for clarity for the board, and just as far as invoicing, majority of the logistics are hard goods. We have estimates and we'll have invoices such as our fence rentals, production expenses. We'll know that. Where we don't have actuals come in really around, which come later, are the marketing expenses because those invoices are passed, right? So then it's not going to be like April.
No, I know it'll be
right?
in
So
the
we're-
it'll be in the recap when you do the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, we're looking
Right.
at May stuff in June. I mean, it can
Yeah.
be another month, but it's fine. It's just I think it's important
Right.
just so we know as a board how the things did and hey, that was not great or that was great. I don't know. It's the information we kind of need to make the informed decisions.
Yeah, I mean they're not money makers. So those
I understand.
again.
Then I want to know how much we're losing. It's okay.
So we'll bring those back up. So I know this wasn't a discussion item. It's more comments. I appreciate that.
Footnote, sometimes it's not we're losing, it's investment. We're investing in the event, not necessarily losing.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
And then we know what we're investing and which ones we're investing
That's
in.
right, and which ones are not
Right.
paying
So
off
we have-
on that investment.
Because I mean, again,
Yes.
I'm looking and say, we made 13,000 in
Trying to get
tickets
clarity.
and 1,800 in concession.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
But
Compared
I'm
to-
not really seeing the picture.
Compared to what? Yes.
The other one we did, 3,000 in VIP and 3,600 in concessions.
Anything else?
Yeah, I do have more. Sorry, that was just my budget one. And then, I want to see just coming to the Beatles. I think the Beatles on the Beach is a great event for the city. I think we put a little too much money into it. I didn't see it hit as hard as I wanted to, and I just want to make sure if we're vested with someone that we're vested. But I think there's a great opportunity for this board to work with organizations and people to program Old School Square where they make the investment in it and they reap the profits and we don't have to see a dollar. That would be my favorite situation, is someone come in, rent it, not look for the money from us. And if they want the money from us, they just have to show us how much they're making, you know, and then we can see what they're spending money on, because maybe we want to redo an event. Not that same event, but we get to see all their numbers, and it helps us understand what's behind us if we're going to run stuff ourselves. Or at some point, again, I don't know how much we spend in fences right now and how much we spend in bringing in equipment. It's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, which again, at some point, whether the DDA is buying it or the city's buying it, or the person who's going to manage the whole venue and make money on it's going to buy it, you know, it's a lot of money we're spending every year, and we're going on 5 years, and I don't know how much we've spent over the last 5 years, probably over $1 million. So again, I'm just looking at this stuff and want to make sure, you know, we're doing the fiscally right things. That's it.
Okay, Cole?
The only thing I have is when we talked about the grounds of Old School Squared, you know, I think there's huge potential there. Just kind of once you have the meeting, get caught up on that. Whether, you know, you guys can hire a landscape architect to try to work this thing, and because I feel like we have one shot at this with the money being allocated. So I'd love to see that get done, you know, as well as it could be.
Before it disappears?
Yeah.
And I think to follow up on that, to have as much of it go into the grounds itself, as opposed to just analyzing architects, whatever else, into the actual hardscape that's going to be there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are we gonna talk about the live stream for next month, or was that going to be discussed? Not.
Can we talk about that at the budget meeting?
We're here. Just probably go 2 seconds around the roll. How does everybody feel?
Yeah, I like the live stream. I like that it's on the
do
record.
too.
I think it's important for transparency. I don't know if we have to pay for it. If the city wants to contribute, if we get a deal, I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that. But I you know, it's not like I love sitting up on the dais. Hey, it's cool, but really, it's about, you know, the transparency. So I think it's important, especially all that we're doing.
100% agree.
Vera? You got
Motion to approve?
No, it's not.
Okay, because I said it earlier. I didn't even know until Laura told me that was a discussion that it was going to be taken away. And I thought the cost was exorbitant, so I was like, how much is it going to be? But now that they said it was like $200, I'm like, there shouldn't be no question that we maintain the flow of information to the people that are paying for the services to be here.
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally agree.
All right, so does it look like do you have an opinion?
Of course I have an opinion.
Do you want to take a consensus just to see where we sit?
I hate this room.
Right.
I hate this room. I would love to have it in a hotel room or anywhere else. I loved our meetings when they were in the DDA headquarters. It's not that I don't want to live stream, and we Zoomed, and it was fine with me. I just hate being up here as opposed to being at the level of everyone else in a cozy environment. Other than that, live stream or not is fine with me.
So I'd like to make a motion that we continue with the live streaming then.
Is that an action item?
I'd second it that we do it here. I mean, it's just, I know people doesn't like being here, but this is where the people come. This is, you know, in our district, everything else, so forth. We have special events. We want to do them at the hotels, whatever else, so forth. But I think the taxpayers are the people that are paying towards our fees, so forth, and for the DDA here, they should know where we're at, should be consistent, and so forth.
So I'm not sure if Jeff has the actual cost, but there is going to be a cost. So I don't know if you want to include that, or it doesn't matter what the cost
Not
is.
to exceed $200.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the cost.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Let's leave it. We got consensus that we want to keep it live. Let's
You
have
just made a motion, though.
a motion, right?
Well, that's not. That's
Okay.
a motion. It's not
The
a
motion,
consensus.
all right.
So
The motion's made.
But should we then, Quentin, have a discussion that we just did, but then not vote on it and then take it up at the budget meeting when we find out the numbers? Because if we plug it in, then we can vote to actually have it if we have the money.
Or we make a motion for staff to investigate
There you
keeping
go.
it here.
Good job.
And confirming what the price is
Yes.
and hoping the city will work with us.
Very good.
That would be the motion.
A second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Nay.
Motion passes.
That's
All right.
it.
I'm done. Nothing else.
Motion to adjourn. What?
You
Is
can't
that what you're
have
doing?
it. I get to talk. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were. I thought. Okay.
I get to talk too.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you, Vera. Thank you for the 3 years. Thank you for suggesting Old School Square. It is your fault, and it is your success, and it's amazing, and it's all came right out of your mouth. For those of you who don't know, Vera is the reason that we went after the Old School Square, after apparently no one else really wanted it, but Vera convinced me that it was the right thing to do, and I'm so glad I was convinced, and I'm so glad everyone else was. I can tell you it took a lot to convince Laura. It certainly did. And it's just been a huge success. And I'm sorry we don't have the Crest Theater and the school, and I really think that if we had had those moving forward, we would have done an excellent job with those as well. When I say we, I mean you and your team. I just ride the laurels, so thank you for that, all of you. As far as Harold, Sonny, I really liked him, and I know how much he wanted the project at 6th, 7th, and 8th in the West to go off, and I really hope that does come to fruition. And not that we should name it the Van Ardem Square, maybe, even though it is a rectangle, and that's important. But overall, hopefully that'll be in his memory somewhere and somehow. Certainly mine, it will be. Is there anything I forgot? Oh yeah, thanks to the mayor and the commissioners and the city manager for coming today and sharing with us. I want the mayor to know that I don't agree with him in terms of lobbying for who we might think would serve best on the board or not. Certainly he lobbied when he fought to be on the commission and be mayor, and politics are politics. And I don't think of this board maybe as so political, but on the other hand, it is somewhat political. So if anybody has an idea of who they might see being on the board and being a success, please make your commissioners know that. And I think that's it. And with that,
There you go. Vera's got an idea.
I love it.
I don't know quite how to address.
Is that a woman?
But congratulations on the pink flamingo. And with that, meeting is adjourned.
Motion to approve. Motion to adjourn. Motion.